Good evening. Apologize for the late start. We had a few technical difficulties up here at the desk. Want to call this meeting of the February 9th Williamson County Commission in order. As always, we ask everyone to please silence their cell phones during the duration of the meeting. Our first item on the agenda is always the invocation and pledge. Tonight it is being delivered by the 11th District. So myself and Sean Aiello will give the invocation, and then I will lead us in the pledge. Please rise.
This is a prayer adapted from Washington's circular letter to the states from 1783 that is spoken at the wreath laying at Mount Vernon on a daily basis. Please bow your head. I now make it my earnest prayer that God would have the United States in his holy protection, that he would incline the hearts of the citizens to cultivate a spirit of subordination and obedience to government, to entertain a brotherly affection and love for one another, for their fellow citizens of the United States at large, and particularly for the brethren who have served in the field. And finally, that he would most graciously be pleased to dispose us all to do justice, to love mercy, and to meet ourselves with that charity, humility, and pacific temper of mind, which were the characteristics of the divine author of our blessed religion. And without an humble limitation of those example in these things, we can never hope to be a happy nation. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item on the agenda is our roll call. If all the commissioners will push their present button when it appears on the screen. Record the roll, please, Mr. Whitby.
Missing a couple. Commissioner Lawrence, it didn't register.
There we go.
Okay. It's 23 present, 1 absent. Commissioner Sanford absent.
And I did hear from Commissioner Sanford. I think most of us did. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. I'll entertain a motion. It looks like our present buttons have popped back up. If you'll hit that to dismiss. There we go. Got a proper motion from Commissioner Tunnicliffe, seconded by Commissioner Megan Guffey. Are there any additions or corrections to the approval of the minutes? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor of approving the minutes, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is citizens' communications. The way we do it is we allow 30 minutes. Did you count these up? 15. So what would that be then?
2 minutes.
Yeah. So for tonight's citizen communications, we will allow 2 minutes to each speaker. I'll call you up in the order in which you signed in. If you would, when you come to the podium, announce the town in which you live and your name. And I'll start with the first one here, Mr. Joseph Woodruff. The Honorable.
Mr. Chairman, good evening. Members of the Commission, good evening. I hope that all of you had an opportunity to read the email that I sent yesterday addressing the issue concerning the contemplated possible acquisition of the Hill property on Columbia Avenue for the use as a site for a relocated courthouse. I'm not going to rehearse everything that was in my letter. The bullet points are the problem that we have had from the very beginning in terms of physical plant capacity in the courthouse still exists today and is worse today than it was 6 years ago when the master plan was adopted to address, in part, the deficiencies in the physical plant for the courthouse. We still got that problem. The only problem is we don't have a solution. We don't have an approved plan. We used to have an approved plan, but we don't anymore. I'm here to communicate to y'all, my colleagues and I will support and work hard to accomplish whatever decision this commission reaches with respect to how to address that problem. Whether it's to revitalize the former master plan or move the courthouse and build a new one on Columbia Avenue or something else, you will have our support. We need a decision, and this body needs to make a decision, and we're confident that you will, and we're confident that you will give it all the consideration that it deserves. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next, I have Mr. John Schroer.
Mr. Chairman, Commission members, I'm John Schroer. I live in Franklin, Tennessee. I'm here, I'm in opposition of the buying of the property at the Hill Center. I'll give you a little history. I'll be brief about it and explain why I am. When I was first elected mayor in 2007 of Franklin, my first thing was to try to stop the police station from being built on Columbia Avenue. I spent 6 months trying to stop it, and unfortunately the city had gone too far and they had condemned the property, bought the land, raised the money to build a police station, and had drawings planned, and we were so far into it that we really couldn't stop it. And the reason why I wanted to stop it was that was no place to build a building like the police station. And I'm here to say that I feel the same way about the courthouse on that particular piece of property as well, the next door neighbor. The property is by far the most valuable piece of property in Franklin outside of Cool Springs, and is also the only property that I can think of any magnitude that has any possibility of commercial development in it left in Franklin. The reason being, everything else that's available is either in the floodplain or in historic zoning. And when I became mayor, with the helps of my friend Ed Silva, who's here tonight, we reinstituted the streetscape project. And when we did that, we knew that we had to go down Columbia Avenue because that's where we wanted the next development to go. And we did it. We spent lots of money. We continued with that. And right now it's starting to happen with
30 seconds.
With the work going on in Margin District. We think that the property across the street can be developed in a very nice manner and can raise somewhere between $5 and $6 million a year in additional taxes to the taxpayers of Franklin and Williamson County. So I hope that you find a great place for it. I agree with Woody that that's something that needs to be done, but it shouldn't be on this piece of property. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Schroer. Next, I have Kathy Marlin.
Good evening. I'm Kathy Marlin. I live in unincorporated Williamson County. I am reading this on behalf of Kathy Green, who could not be here tonight. I know some of the cities will dislike having the county approve annexations. However, cities rely on the county for schools, ambulance, fire assistance, and many other services. Schools are approximately 75% of the county budget. These projects have raised property taxes for those of us outside the city, yet we have no say or representation. These developments increase traffic and the roads are not being widened. A prime example of this is the amphitheater and the proposed mall. Both are in the most congested area of southern Williamson County and greatly impact county residents. I understand this will be extra work for the cities, but let me give you examples of why this is necessary. First and foremost, the city of Spring Hill definitely misled the UGB committee by not disclosing they were already in trouble with the state for sewer infractions. They told the committee they couldn't wait and revisit this in 5 years because they were ready and capable of developing the addition to the UGB. Yet months later, the state shut them down and imposed a moratorium. That's definitely a little karma in action. Now, officials have said that was ongoing for 2 years prior, but did not disclose that to the UGB committee.
30 seconds.
Also, we found out that Nolensville was sued for charging impact fees with a structure change in local government. The state-approved private septic systems are repeatedly having problems such as the grassland issues. We cannot allow these problems to continue, proving how easy it is to go around interlocal agreement by possibly adding property that doesn't want services, making a proposed development contiguous. Growth is inevitable, but we must improve our system and have
Time.
proper
Thank you.
infrastructure.
Thank you, Ms. Marlin. Next, I have Jane Sadler.
Good evening. My name is Jane Sadler. I live in the unincorporated area of Williamson County. What I'm reading is an email that I sent to all of you earlier, but I wanted to make sure in case you had not had a chance to get it. Tonight, you will be voting on resolution number 226-20, which seeks to address county concerns related to annexation and growth management. I encourage you to vote yes. The various municipalities within Williamson County have grown at a tremendous rate and continue to look for ways to grow. They operate under the fallacy that annexation equals revenue. Well, it does if you're not footing the bill for all the services required of new residents, such as schools, police, fire, ambulance, parks, and waste management. The cost of these services is now being foisted onto residents within the county who have no representation within these municipalities. We cannot vote for responsible leadership, nor can we vote as to whether or not we want this additional growth, but we will have to pay for it with higher taxes. During the joint Property and Tax Committee meeting held last week, there was some discussion about the growth roundtable that was created from the urban growth boundary meetings. The roundtable is held quarterly with mayors and various representatives. The group was created to foster a comprehensive approach to solving issues within the county's boundaries. However, the only topics at the meetings in 2025 were concerning infrastructure. They have yet to drill down to discuss the true root cause of this overgrowth. There was also concerns that the current good relationships between the county and the municipalities could erode.
30
Yes,
seconds.
that is a possibility, but you all have to look out for the good of the entire county, not just the area. Williamson County prides itself on quality of life, quality schools. That comes with a price. Taxes will need to be raised to continue to pay our school debts and to pay for all the other services. At what point in time will Williamson County become too expensive to live in? I encourage you to vote yes on this resolution to stop the trend of taxation without representation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sadler. Next, I have Janet Curtis.
My name is Janet Curtis. I live in the unincorporated area of Williamson County. Good evening, Commissioners. At the recent Joint Tax and Property Committee meeting, we heard repeated emphasis on preserving good working relations with our municipalities. Cooperation matters, but not at the expense of the people who elected you. I stand here as one of your constituents from unincorporated Williamson County, asking you to put residents first, our rural character, our quality of life, our schools, our basic taxpayer fairness. A clear example that shows how the spirit of our interlocal agreements is being undermined. A developer wanted an interlocal agreement for essential Coleman Road improvements for the Harlan property near Hillview and Columbia Avenue. They were told annexing any road portion was illegal. No commissioner would sponsor the agreement, so the project was stalled. Then came the workaround. The Ingram family requested annexation of an 80-acre county island, suddenly making the Harlan property contiguous to the city, bypassing the interlocal agreement entirely. If these agreements can be sidestepped so easily through strategic annexations, what real purpose do they serve? They were meant to ensure balanced, genuine cooperation, not one-sided loopholes. You've expressed deep concern for municipal goodwill. That's understandable, but what about the goodwill you owe us, your primary constituents? We elected you to be our voice. Choosing silence or inaction now betrays the trust we placed in you. To restore fairness and close these loopholes, adopt these clear, equitable rules. If you are contiguous to any municipality
30 seconds.
boundary, you can be annexed or be in the UGB. And if you don't, then you're not annexed and you're not in the UGB. That would eliminate the island of non-contiguous property. Please engage directly with residents fighting to preserve the Williamson County we love. You've shown bold leadership for county residents before. We need that courage again now. Thank you for your service and for listening tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Curtis. Next, I have Bob Ravener.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commission, first of all, let me say how much I appreciate all the work that you do. I know many of you and know how hard and effort you put into this activity. Second of all, I cannot speak at all to what the court and county needs are from a space perspective. What I can talk about is I'm a downtown resident, past president of the Downtown Neighborhood Association, and spent a number of years trying to expand residential in the downtown area to make our downtown Main Street retailers and merchants more successful and sustainable. And it's my opinion, and part of why I was a supporter of the Margin District was because it was going to extend our downtown reach and add more residential, which I think is needed. That spot, the H.G. Hill property, would be a perfect spot for additional mixed use for the right project, but adding more residential. And it's come up awfully fast. A week ago, I didn't even know this was happening. So I applaud the effort to try to delay this vote. My circles didn't know anything about this property, and I think it gives them time to absorb what the commission is trying to do, look at other options, provide options and the pros and cons behind it, and decide if this is the right property for the county. As a resident downtown, I'm still a fan of mixed-use residential and not another municipal building. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abner. Next up, Mr. Harris Pierce.
Good evening. I'm Harris Pierce, and I live in Franklin. And Bob Ravner has come before me, so for me to say what he has already said again is a waste of your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pierce. Is it Grave or Graw? I've got Clive, and I'm hopefully reading this right. It's a little difficult to read. Grave or Graw? Correct me when you come to the podium, please.
It's Graw.
Graw, okay.
Yeah, I got a lot to say. Don't cut me off. I sent a letter to the commissioners. My name's Clive Graw. I'm in the unincorporated Williamson County area, right next to the city. And I'm a retired traffic engineer who's reviewed hundreds of traffic studies, was in development review. What's wrong with the current annexation process? Cities have hijacked the process and proceed to annexation without any county input, using the UGB as an excuse. Envision Franklin as a wish list. It's not even a plan. A plan requires a comprehensive assessment of infrastructure and a realistic forecasting of future growth. It does neither. The county weighs in too late in the process with the intralocal agreement. The biggest impact on the county is with large developments like Ovation. It recently approved a doubling in size from 1,594 units to 1.65 million square feet of commercial space. I did the calculations as a traffic engineer. It's going to create 100,000 trips. It's 4 times what's going to be Nissan Stadium on game day. It went from 50 to 100,000. Delays crossing the I-65 overpass will double NAM from 30 to 60 minutes. Commissioners, look forward to hearing from your constituents.
30 seconds.
Why didn't Ovation Orion set aside a small remnant of the 175 acres for a middle school site when the nearest middle school is several miles away and it's at 100% capacity? How do we fix this? Hire an independent traffic consultant, require developers to update. County traffic consultant could have capped the maximum traffic allowed to divert to the I-96 freeway if they had a county. I tried to intervene but was unsuccessful. We need the county behind this and have a county traffic engineer. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Ed Silva.
Mr. Chairman, members, I'm Ed Silva. I've been practicing law here in Franklin since 1974. I'm a proud owner of a building that was built in 1874. has survived a lot of things, obviously, even bad weather and developers, et cetera. And I'm proud of that. But what I want to draw the attention of the commissioners to is the courthouse in the square. You know, the county was founded in 1799, and at that time it had a little log house in the middle of the square where justice was sought and sometimes found. It was replaced by a brick and stone building in 1806. And then in 1856, 2 years it took to build a beautiful Greek Revival architectural masterpiece that's an asset to this community. Growth is inevitable. Expansion is necessary. I understand the need. We have 4 judges now. We need 4 courthouses. We need 4 courtrooms. We need them technically sound, and we need security.
30 seconds.
My concern, Chairman, is we need to preserve that old building. That has to be not sold in the marketplace and turned into some retail center. That needs to be preserved as an historical edifice representative of this county and of the city of Franklin. So I'm really here to ask you, in consideration of this expansion and relocation and all of that,
Thank you, Mr. Silva.
that you not sell that wonderful old courthouse and you keep it as it is. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Patrick Baggett, Alderman Patrick Baggett.
Commissioners, thank you for your service and for all the great things you're doing for this community. Every day, 76,000 people outside of the city limits drive into Franklin to work. 76,000. Our population is 88,000. This fact matters because it underscores something very important, that Franklin doesn't exist in isolation, and neither does the county exist in isolation. We impact each other. This is a known thing. We have known this for years. We've worked together on school sales tax. We raise sales tax together, a collaborative approach between all the municipalities to solve a problem. Interlocal agreements between our firefighters serving unincorporated, mutual response. We do that. We don't say and come to you asking for money. We've never played this back and forth game of you're costing us this and so we are going to do this. This is a big government. This is injecting additional government. This resolution for annexation is adding an additional layer of government into a process that exists. I would implore you, that's not the first step. As most of you all are probably Republicans running on the Republican ticket, that's not the first step I would implore you to do, is to add another layer of government. Let's look back at the playbook where we have all worked together as cities and as the county, and let's talk about the problems that we're trying to solve instead of adding an additional layer of government.
30 seconds.
22,000 people I represent in Ward 4. Every single one of them pay county taxes. I have a natural incentive to make sure that whatever we're doing is not raising county taxes. And our board feels that way too. I believe all the other municipalities feel that way too. I would ask that you look at a way to convene maybe a different working group. Commissioner Petty, I respect the underlying issues that you're hearing here. There's a better way, I think, to solve it, and I would implore you to look into those before a big government solution.
Thank you, Alderman. Next, I have Judge Tom Taylor.
Thanks for the opportunity to talk to you tonight. I'm here to ask you to vote yes on the courthouse proposal on the Plaza or Hill property. I'm here to ask, others have provided you with more specific information concerning the proposal to purchase the property for a new courthouse, but I'm not going to go into that. Not many of you are regular visitors at the courthouse, so you can't know the limitations of the current courthouse. It has been inadequate from the day that it was built. before we ever moved in it, it was inadequate. It has a full third of its capacity used in a decorative atrium that cannot be, you can't do anything with it in its current condition. It's also connected to a historic courthouse that is verboten to touch, to do anything with it that makes any kind of useful change for the needs that we have. There's no plan to improve the courthouse in a way that will comport with current or future needs. There were things that were talked about during the Triple J discussions. None of those things were anything other than patches to try to get us through 6 years, and then COVID came along and we lost that time, and the courthouse became more and more inadequate as time went on. We need a new modern courthouse that provides for future expansion. Judge Andre and I share 1 1/3 courtrooms.
30 seconds.
The 1/3 courtroom does not meet security requirements. We need another judge, but there's no place for that person to sit down, much less hold court. Rutherford County has 5 general sessions court judges. The historic courthouse in its current limitations is inadequate and will remain so. I hope you will give the proposal to convert the Plaza Hill property to a courthouse reasoned consideration. If not, like the last courthouse, you are making an important decision based on emotion.
Thank you, Your
and
Honor.
not the true needs of the community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Rick Canada.
I'm Rick Canada. I live at 4348 North Chapel Road. On July 23rd, 1971, at Fort Riley, Kansas, upon being appointed an officer in the United States Army, I took my oath of office, speaking these words we are all so familiar with. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. Many of you have also taken this oath or variation thereof. The foundation, the bedrock of our Constitution that we have sworn to support and defend is laid out in the first 3 words of the preamble: we, the people. Our government is based on the principle that people select their leaders in a democratic system that also requires elected officials to be accountable to the people. This is how it works, unless you happen to live in an area adjacent to our local municipalities, the area arbitrarily designated as an urban growth boundary. Those of us living in these areas are subject to the whims of the local officials of Franklin, Thompson Station, Spring Hill, etc. These officials, politicians we have never voted for, are currently making decisions that we believe will negatively impact our quality of life and financial well-being. Our elected representatives sit before us tonight, for those of us who live in the county. It's you. Oops, lost my place here. Hold on here.
30 seconds.
Okay. Our elected representatives sit for us. This is our county commissioners. You guys represent us who live in the county. Our elected representatives sit for us. Just because our homes happen to be located in a UGB should not mean that we lose our constitutional rights to self-governance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Canada. Next, I have Jeff Goodspeed.
Thank you all, commissioners, for all your time and effort. Just like to say that I wish you support the resolution 2620. According to your Williamson 2040 comprehensive land use plan, the public and you decided that the public wants better managed growth to preserve rural character and open space, reduce traffic congestion into and around existing developed areas. That resulted in a 1 house to every 5 acres resolution. So far, current or projected UGB annexation has allowed or is planning to allow a high-density multi-use development on the edges of those UGBs, which is in, again, as Rick said before me, where we have no say and you guys are only representation. This resolution allows everyone, including all of your constituents, the BOMAs, for local municipalities, the state legislature, and even the governor, that you need to be heard, and unchecked annexation leading to unresponsible and costly development is not acceptable. We're just asking as county residents that you approve this resolution and allow your own constituents to have their voice back. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goodspeed. Catherine McKinney.
Good evening. My name is Catherine McKinney. I live in Franklin. I want to first thank you for your service. I know how much work it is. I'm here to urge you to vote yes on the resolution 22620. Last I checked, Williamson County was $1.2 billion in debt, but it could be more now. It's hard to keep track. But we can't print money. And what happens when a county has a growing debt? It either raises taxes or it crowds out services. The debt service crowds out services. So it's usually both, actually. That's what happens. So I'm imploring you to vote for this resolution because it's the fiscally sound thing to do. We have to know what impact various annexations will have on the budget. It's just a resolution. It's not a mandate nor a law. And from there, it's in the legislature's hands. But here today, we can do the right thing and vote for legal guidance to ensure fiscal responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McKinney. And last on the list, we have Ms. Karen Smith.
Hello, I'm Karen Smith, and I live in unincorporated Williamson County, Franklin, Tennessee. In 1998, we bought 14 acres in unincorporated Williamson County, where my neighborhood is primarily one house per 5 acres, and many of the homes in my neighborhood have horses and cows and chickens. We're rural. We're on the border. It was in 2017 that I learned about the urban growth boundary, and that's when the Smith family presented a high-density commercial development plan to our community in our neighborhood. And in 2023, we petitioned to be removed from the urban growth boundary because there are no voting rights for people like me. And Commissioner Lawrence did a good job to try to help us get out, but the mayor said no, and he pretty much ignored all the people that spoke and petitioned during that time period. So non-contiguous annexation allows the city to develop in pockets, leapfrogging over county property, leading to fragmented development patterns, infrastructure deficiencies, service complexities, and conflicting interests of property owners. The county commissioners should have a voice in the annexation process, starting with the financial impact of the proposed development before the development begins. And this would allow for more prudent planning and budgeting. The resolution is just a first step to promote transparency, fiscal responsibility, and equitable growth management, ensuring annexations does not impose unmitigated costs on county residents who currently lack direct representation in municipal decisions. We are asking you to vote yes to the resolution. Leadership is hard, and we appreciate all your hard work for all the residents of Williamson County. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And thank you to all those who came to speak. That concludes citizens' communications. We now move on to communications and messages.
Chairman, I want to claim the 1 minute of Ms. Catherine's time.
But you had to have signed up before the meeting started, sir. I'm sorry.
I can't claim the time.
I'm afraid not.
If y'all would reform
Now,
the sewage system, the septic system laws, where it was easier to build.
sir, I'm going to ask you to sit down. We have to. Okay, on to communications and messages. First up, we have some late filed resolutions that if there are no objections, we will hear. If there are no objections from my fellow commissioners, we will hear 22624 and 22625.
26, that's on your table.
Oh, and there's also a resolution on your table of 22626. Those three resolutions were late filed, and without objection, we will hear those. I see no objections. We also have had requests to move some resolutions up to accommodate those in the audience. who have come to hear those resolutions. Those being resolutions 226-7 tied with 226-8. That's the H.G. Hill property resolution. We'll move that to the front. We'll follow that by resolution 226-20. That's the resolution on the annexation and growth. And then I do have a request to move, I believe it's 226-19 for Mr. Petty, who wishes to defer that resolution, but asks that he be able to do that up front for those who came tonight to hear that one. So if there are no objections, those 3 or 4 resolutions will be moved up to the front to accommodate those in attendance. Any objections? Hearing none, we'll move those up. Before we go in communications and messages and move on to reports of county offices, I do want to acknowledge Mayor Ken Moore and Eric Stuckey. They have asked to come and speak before us, and I told them that I would allow that, and so they may approach the podium now.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Commissioners, for hearing our concerns tonight. And thank you, Mayor Anderson. First of all, a big thank you for allowing us to use this facility for our board meetings. And this is one of many ways that we've found to cooperate through the years on many things, and many of them Alderman Baggett mentioned. We're here to express our concern about the proposed relocation of the Williamson County Courts to the H.G. Hill property, the 5.69 acres at 926 Columbia Avenue. We recently learned of this proposal and met with Mayor Anderson and Jim Cross to better understand the proposal and how far along the project had progressed. Based on our meeting, it appears it is much further along in the planning stage than we had anticipated. As has been mentioned already by several people, the city of Franklin is very protective of its corridors that come into town, and we've spent a great deal of money through the years preserving those corridors and making sure they look good, and Columbia Avenue is one of those corridors. We're starting to see some economic benefit on Columbia Avenues, the margin district that's being there, and I would question whether placing a single large building on the H.G. Hill property is the highest and best use of this property. A large multi-story or large building would not activate the street as would a series of buildings in a mixed-use development, and there's a concern over the massing and the contextual fit in this area given the lower-rise buildings and the rest of the area. As Mayor Schroer pointed out, if you want to visualize what that might appear, just look at our own police station, which is a very large building on that property. Our board has already expressed some concerns about height restrictions in this area, and particularly on this parcel. Furthermore, a large justice center would do little to provide needed services to support the adjacent neighborhoods or downtown. And of course, there's always a concern with property taxes, losing those taxes that would come with that property and redevelopment of it. I don't think it's the highest and best use. Many in our community don't. And but I would request that if this is a project that the county commission continues to pursue, that we be part of that discussion, which we feel like has not happened up to this point. So we would ask that we be included in that. I'd also like to quickly speak about Resolution 22620 concerning urban growth boundaries. And as you're aware, this was about a 2-year process we just went through, and if I remember correctly, the county received an award for this process. The urban growth boundary is a planning tool that we use to understand how to grow our city. It is not annexation. Annexation is only by the request of the property owner or by referendum at the request of the property owner. So the city of Franklin has focused a lot on growth for the past 32 years. We've been growing at 2,000 people a year, and we have a number of tools that we use. to help manage that growth. So we would look forward to further conversations such as in the Growth Committee, which already exists. There's a continued committee that followed up after development of the new urban growth boundary. So thank you for the opportunity to speak, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, Mayor Moore.
Good evening. I'm Eric Stuckey, City Administrator for the City of Franklin, and I won't take a whole lot more time. The mayor covered a lot of ground effectively. I am a recovering county administrator, so I know some of the challenges you're dealing with, and building an effective, well-functioning justice center is a challenge, but a very, very important one to meet the needs of the community. We stand ready to work with you. The mayor has effectively raised a lot of concerns, but we want to work in partnership, just like we always have, to find solutions together. And I think when we plan well and we collaborate, we solve problems more effectively, whether that's a justice center or whether that's managing growth effectively in our community. And we can do that together. We don't need state laws to change. We can find ways to collaborate effectively within the framework we have, and look forward to that opportunity to do that with you, with however the commission decides tonight and going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stuckey. Moving on to reports of county offices, I'll call on Mayor Rogers Anderson.
Mr. Chairman, and Commissioners, I'll have Phoebe come up to give us a snapshot of what all's occurring in the county for the last 30 days. Following that, I'm going to ask Todd Horton to come up and give us an overview of the last 2 weeks, and following that will be Gordon Hampton, that he'll be making a presentation. Phoebe.
Thank you, Mayor Anderson, and good evening. As you came in, you saw some very colorful letters that I did not get included in your packet. Do want to make sure that you are aware of those. Those are the letters from the Comptroller's Office, the Division of Local Government Finance. Those are regarding Resolution 226-9 and 226-10. Those will be our refunding bonds. So this is what we do. Requirement of the county is to issue our refunding plan to the Comptroller's Office to have them to review and to get back with us. That is that letter to you. As you can see, it is directed to Mayor Anderson and to each of you, and that is that plan, and that's why I wanted to make sure those got into your hands. They just came in a little bit later than what the packets did. Would like to report this evening that December privilege tax collections for the month of December is a little over $837,000. This is over $500,000 less than what we collected in November. So we've been averaging a little over $1 million each month. November was $1.4 million, and we have only collected in December $837,722. This is an agreement actually correlates with our education impact fee. Obviously, those go hand in hand. Our reduction this month in comparison to last month was also $568,000, with a collection this month of $1.3 million compared to last month's $1.9. We are seeing for the last 2 months our building permits are slightly down, which would explain the numbers and the square footage and the amount of revenue we are collecting. Would like to report, since I have given you all the negative numbers. So a small profit we have received in December from the Cool Springs Conference Center for $10,774. Again, we will take every little bit of profit we can. This evening you have the 2 refunding bonds, as I've mentioned, later for your approval. We are on track for about 50% of our revenue collections right now as of December, so everything else is about on target. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to take those at this time.
Any questions for Ms. Riley? I see none.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, Commissioners. Thanks for the opportunity to just update you on the last 2 weeks and the progress that we're making here in Williamson County after these storms. I also want to thank several of you who have reached out to our agency and commented on the work of our staff and other county officials for this disaster. My lack of response has not been because your message was unread or unappreciated. It's just that I've chosen to focus my efforts on what is needed for the county at this time, but we are grateful for your support of our agency. I also want to thank all of the county department heads, elected officials, municipal governments, nonprofit organizations, and utility partners that have worked hand in hand with us with unprecedented cooperation, as they do in every event that we have. And I think it's a testament to the ongoing efforts that we have to collaborate with one another all year long that makes times like these go very well for our community. Williamson County Emergency Management activated its Emergency Operations Center to a level 3 to coordinate the disaster response in both in-person and virtual opportunities to support our stakeholders and our 6 municipalities. Public information campaigns were started with our network of public information officers across Williamson County to deliver both factual information and real-time information for our residents, and those efforts continue to this day. Emergency Management continues to update its current incident page with all relevant information regarding this disaster, and the public can access that site at williamsonready.org and clicking on the winter weather update banner. They can also follow us on X or Facebook at WCTN EMA. The Emergency Operations Center scheduled virtual daily incident briefings with all of our stakeholders and our municipal partners because travel regarding this time was extremely difficult. We use this to both share information and to provide information about the ongoing efforts for this disaster. Our local public works departments worked around the clock to clear roads to allow safe travel, not only of emergency vehicles, but our public where possible. And also they were instrumental in helping our utility partners recover the electrical grid in a more rapid response. The Williams County 911 communications upstaffed from the beginning of this incident to ensure that it had enough staff on hand and locally within the county to meet the increased call for service. Our radio infrastructure, emergency radio infrastructure, while we had several sites that were on battery backup generator power as loss of power, our emergency communication system worked without fail. Williamson Medical Center Health also increased their staffing across the county, adding a 24-hour staff unit in Central Franklin, and also increased staffing in Fairview by moving a 12-hour unit to a 24-hour unit, and also providing a district chief. Williamson County Homeless Alliance operated a cold weather shelter for those in need of that population, and most fire departments and law enforcement officers across the county also increased staffing to meet the increased call demand. Public shelters were opened across the county. Franklin High School was opened. That had a maximum occupancy at one time of about 31 occupants, and One Generation Away provided the initial food support for that site, while obviously, the Williams County Schools provided staff to support the ongoing food efforts, as well as donations that came in from the public. Fairview High School was also opened as a shelter with a maximum one-time occupancy of approximately 48 occupants and 8 pets, and food was provided by cafeteria staff at that location, again with occasional donations from the public. Due to the increased time frame in which northern Williamson County was without power, we determined the need to open up the Martin Center after polling the community for those needs. And while 25 families reported they did need shelter, none of those families actually reported to the shelter after it was open. So it stayed open for only a day, and then we put it in a standby mode, ready to open at any time because, again, of the prolonged outage expected in that area. Noblesville United Methodist Church, we heard that they also ran a shelter that they ran themselves. We don't know how many occupants might have taken advantage of that. And I also understand that Camp Marymount may have also opened a shelter after we closed our Fairview shelter, and I don't have any information about that population as well. Williamson County Sheriff's Department proved essential in this event by not only providing transportation for emergency services workers and essential personnel to arrive at work, but also countless transportations of citizens to and from shelter locations, or if they were stranded on the side of the road, to their home. Williamson County Animal Center provided resources at all 3 county-run shelters to ensure that residents could bring pets that were allowed in the shelter locations. Williamson County Parks and Recreation also allowed residents who had prolonged power outages to use their shower facilities at both the Brentwood and Nolensville facilities. And we also established an emergency operations center call center in order to provide residents with additional information they needed if they were to seek shelter operations. Many other things that I haven't mentioned certainly occurred during this event that involved other county departments, and that information certainly will be presented at a later time. Emergency management also worked to create plans to evacuate an assisted living and memory care facility in the city of Fairview with 45 residents. However, Middle Tennessee Electric was able to restore power within about 30 minutes of where they would have been, where it would have required evacuation. EMA, along with the city of Brentwood and support from Franklin Fire, evacuated an assisted living facility in Brentwood to a nearby church. This was about 67 individuals that were evacuated into that church, and they were able to return back just a few days ago. On January 22nd, Governor Lee issued a state of emergency for all 95 counties, and on January the 24th, President Trump issued an emergency declaration. This type of declaration provides federal assistance for short-term emergency protective measures only, which includes things like evacuation and sheltering, search and rescue, public information, clearing of roads, and restoration of power. On January the 28th, Governor Lee requested an expedited major disaster declaration, and FEMA completed their rapid joint damage assessment. On February the 6th, I'm pleased that President Trump approved a major disaster declaration for several counties in Tennessee, including Williamson County. This type of declaration allows federal reimbursement for all categories of public assistance, including debris removal, emergency protective measures, road clearance and road repair, bridge repair, water control facilities, buildings and equipment, utilities, and other government facilities like parks. In order to qualify for this federal assistance, Williamson County had to experience at least $1.1 million of loss, and the state had to experience a little over $12 million of loss. On February 3rd, we submitted our initial damage assessments, which was already at $9.9 million across Williamson County, well above our qualifying threshold. For your reference, when federal assistance is offered on a major disaster declaration, the federal government reimburses 75% of our cost for all eligible projects. The local government is then responsible for the remaining 25%. History has shown that the state of Tennessee picks up 12.5% of that, leaving the local government the remaining 12.5%. Right now, that is on target to happen, but we will continue to await information from the governor's office to ensure that that is the action that they choose to take. There are 11 temporary debris sites across Williamson County that have been approved for government or its contractors to bring debris placed in the right-of-way to that site. At that site, we will take opportunities to grind that material so that it requires less trips from the temporary debris site to its final resting place, which will be the landfill. By establishing temporary debris sites throughout the community, this helps us focus on getting the roads cleared faster rather than having to drive from all of those areas to the landfill and back. Unincorporated Williamson County residents that want to move their own debris can transport it directly to the landfill, as we are not accepting vegetation and debris at convenience centers during this disaster. We also encourage residents who need assistance with debris removal from their private property to the right-of-way to register by typing the keyword debris to 888-777. While this is not a guarantee that assistance will be provided, we are working with volunteer organizations to hopefully come in and provide assistance to those who identify they need it. While unincorporated Williamson County normally does not pick up debris at the right-of-way, I stress again that during times of disaster, we do own that responsibility and will pick up that debris. We encourage you to visit our website so that you understand how to stage that debris so that it does not encroach into the roadway, and that it also facilitates faster pickup of that debris as we have a large area to cover. One challenge that we are faced with is identifying homes that have been damaged, including broken water pipes in the home. Understanding the impacts that this has had across our county helps us justify our request for individual assistance through the federal government, where the federal government provides direct assistance to individuals, either in the form of financial contributions or low-interest loans to help them recover. During times of tornado, we can normally easily drive down roads to the affected area and see the damage for ourselves. But in this case, much of the damage is either on the rear of the home or it's confined to the interior of the home. And so our traditional methods of an agency of going out and surveying damage is extremely difficult. That's why we need the public's help in reporting any damages that have been sustained to their home or inside their home. They can find a link on our website, again, williamsonready.org, to report that information. Finally, efforts are in progress with the United Way and Hands on Nashville to coordinate volunteer projects, again, to assist residents with removing debris from their private property to the right-of-way. To date, 870 residents have reported this need across 3 reporting platforms. We are working to validate those reports, remove duplicates, and coordinate with Hands On to fulfill as many requests as we can. We plan to engage civic and faith-based organizations tomorrow, requesting their assistance in helping our community navigate through this disaster timeframe. I'm happy to answer any questions. That's what I wanted to share with you tonight.
Thank you, Director Horton, for your leadership, your hard work, and everything that you and your department have done during this disaster to keep us safe and keep us moving along. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me to ask Todd to come up. There are so many people, but I think you saw and heard the reports from Todd of the unity that we pull together, even in all the discussion we're having from the citizens. There's always time for all of us to get together as city and county and prove that we are one of the premier counties can do that. Again, I wish you would acknowledge Todd and the Public Safety Department, our cities and counties, everyone has worked. Mac was just telling me earlier today, out at the landfill, I'll get this mixed up. How many tickets, Matt?
367.
Largest amount of people drove in and pulled tickets for our landfill. That beats anything we did in COVID, and we set records in COVID. What a wonderful county we live in, regardless if we have our differences. Join me, let me say thank you to these people. One more time. So next I have Gordon, and then following Gordon, we will have a short presentation by ECD and Matt and his team. Gordon?
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. Thank you for being here tonight. We're glad to join you. Well, it's a hard act to follow right there, but I want to echo the great job that they've done. Keeping up with some good news, Williamson County Parks and Recreation is glad to be here tonight to talk about some good things that are happening with us. It's been probably 40 years that Williamson County has had a recreation park department. We started out with our good friends from the city of Franklin through an interlocal agreement, and we had a joint rec, and in the early 90s, that was turned into the county's department. We're going to talk tonight real quickly about the aquatics program, and we're going to be joined by the Excel Swim Club, who's going to make a very generous donation tonight. Let me just start by saying, in 1990, when the Recreation Center was built in the city of Franklin, there was an indoor pool and an outdoor pool. Since then, over the past 38 years, the county has built 2 additional indoor pools, 3 additional outdoor pools, and 2 splash pads serving the entire county. We have aquatic facilities from Nolensville to Fairview, from Brentwood to Spring Hill. So we're covering all directions and just about, we don't have one in everybody's district, but they're regionally located, and we are glad that we are able to take care of everyone. So at this time, what I'd like to do is bring staff up here and the XL Swim Club. We started with water cats years and years ago, and we also had a relationship with the NAC Swim Club, Nashville Aquatic Club out of Nashville. The water cats were later merged with the XL Swim Club, so XL's been with us for well over 25 years. Stephen will give you a little bit more information. But just to let you know the significance of this club, just during the past 20 years, the XL Swim Club has contributed over $4 million of operating capital to the Williamson County Parks and Recreation budget. And tonight they're here to present a $1 million check, which is the largest single cash donation that the Parks and Recreation Department has ever received. You see us coming almost every commission meeting with donations of some variety, but this $1 million check tonight is setting the bar at a very high level. So at this time, I'm very pleased to introduce Stephen Murray, who's the president and head coach of XL. He wants to present. Mr. Mayor, if you would come up and help us with this check here. It's awful heavy. But I'd like for Stephen just to have a minute to say something about the club and the relationship that we have.
Well, thank you, Gordon. Thank you, Commission. We are honored to be here tonight, and thank you for all the support that we've received over the years in operation. I'm here tonight with our board president, Laura Carrico, who's been instrumental in leading our club in this decision, in this process. And this facility is going to provide the community with essential access to life-saving skills, healthier lifestyles, athletic development, and opportunities for athletes to go and compete at the collegiate level. Over the past years that we've operated, we've had over 4,000 competitive athletes come through our program, and over 250 of those athletes continued on to swim in college, providing essential programming or life opportunities for them. Myself being one included, I've been with the club since I was 12 years old, so it's my honor and privilege to be the head coach and CEO for the company, to provide these services for the community, which is our main mission and goal, is to be an integral part and a partnership with the community and county. And with this facility, providing those essential services, our commitment to this project has largely been in part the leadership of Gordon, Rick, Evan, who showed us this tremendous potential opportunity that was available with this facility. And it's my hope that our commitment to this project financially and with just the support of bringing as many people into the pool as possible, showing that the Parks and Rec Department, the facilities that they operate and provide are essential to the community's development and growth. And I can't thank the commission enough for supporting this project financially and making sure that it's going to be one of the best things for Bethesda and the growth of that community. And we're honored and privileged to be a part of that. So I want to thank everybody here and for this opportunity. And we look forward to the next year as it gets built and have a great pool in place for swimmers for years to come. So thank you for your positive impact. We're going this way.
Once again, thank you so much. And I do want to recognize staff real quick. Rick Taylor, Deputy Director, Evan Hampton, Superintendent of Aquatics. They do a fantastic job. I'm very proud of the work they do. And I'm very proud of each one of you for support. Thank you very, very much.
Mr. Chairman, we have one more small report from Nathan, but I have to tell you what was going through my mind as they were having a conversation from the position I was at. Several years ago, you had one of your county commissioners that was in the Olympics, almost made it to the Olympics, that I was facing. He was in a swimming event. Chaz Morton, you want to tell us what year that was? You almost made it.
Your mic is on.
swimming gave me a lifetime of opportunities. I will say that the indoor pools built in Williams County were after my career had ended here locally, so maybe just a couple years too late. But it is tremendous sport. Learned a lifetime of opportunities and things from it. Olympians fall into two categories: you are an Olympian or you are not. The closer you are, the more heartbreaking it is. I am not one and not that heartbroken.
And I think you should tell them what event that you worked in, that you pushed yourself in.
Well, this is really more than anybody needs to hear about swimming. The 400 individual medley, which is sort of the decathlon of swimming, it's awful. It is grueling. It is demanding. It is a lot like life, and there are a lot of lessons to learn from it. But consequently, most swimmers with the talent to not have to swim the 400 IM will choose not to, which then left the 400 IM open for people like me. So that's all I know.
I thought it was important you all know we almost had an Olympian, then he turned into a lawyer. Nathan and Matt are up next.
Not sure quite how to follow that. That's great. We're just going to take just a couple of minutes. Thank you, Commissioner, Mr. Chairman, for giving us a few minutes to talk to you tonight and really just honestly take questions. And more than that, thank you for allowing us to partner with this body, this county, to help create career opportunities for our friends, family, and neighbors. That's the true north of what we do. It's all about careers and jobs to the people we care about. That's how we do this. That's how we define it as a team, as a community. And we all know a thriving economy leads to a healthy community. And we're so lucky in Williamson County to have that. What Rogers was talking about earlier. We've all visited places, or in my case, we're from a place where that wasn't the case. And when it's not, you have an entire different set of challenges that are nearly impossible to overcome. So really, we're just going to, Nathan's going to talk a little bit about the benchmark report, but I just wanted to thank you all for the partnership. We know that government doesn't create jobs, but it does create the environment that allows jobs to be created. And this body in this county does a great job in creating an environment that encourages investment in our community. With that, I'll let Nathan talk about our benchmark report, and happy to take any questions. Nathan?
Thanks, Matt.
Yep.
Good evening, Commissioners. On Friday, January 30th, I submitted the 2025 Williamson Inc. Office of Economic Development Annual Report. If you haven't had an opportunity yet to review it, I hope that you will. In it, you'll see our focus on supporting existing business, all the work that we're doing around small business support and entrepreneurs and supporting that community. You'll see some highlights around our career exposure opportunities for Williamson County students. I'm confident after reviewing that report that you will be as proud to see the work that we've done together as our team was putting those resources together and submitting them. So happy to field any questions about the report. Alternatively, after you've had some time to review it, if you'd like to get together and talk about it, I'd be delighted to do that. But as Matt said, really, thank you for your continued partnership and support in the work that we do together.
Any questions for Matt or Nathan? I see none. Thank you, gentlemen.
Mr. Chairman, that completes everything. I'll take questions for you.
Any questions for the mayor? Commissioner Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Mayor. We're getting a lot of questions about the debris pickup, and I know we've got the app and they can go on and schedule that. So the question is, and I know it may be difficult to answer this specifically, but what type of expectation can we give them as to when that might be picked up?
Well, you're not to be tacky, but you're fortunate we've got the Franklin mayor here. He can answer those questions about the city. But I also have Matt here. I don't know if Eddie Hood is here or not. I haven't seen him. Matt, would you kind of make your way up here? But there's a lot of discussion on how we handle it. The cities are all handling it a little bit different, but if you're in the unincorporated area, if you'll get the debris, the trees and stuff to the right-of-way, the easement, not getting on the road, as Todd said, over the next several weeks, we did give some of the men time off so they could sleep, not time off, but so they could sleep in the evening because they have worked some long, long hours. And just as soon as we can get the last few tree branches hanging over the road so the buses can drive under them and not scrape the top, then we'll start picking up that debris. Mac has been very involved with Eddie Hood, who is actually doing this for us. And you heard Todd say we've got several points that the highway department will be taking that so they don't have to run back and forth to the landfill. Mac?
It's been rather busy. Those of you that have been to the landfill and have seen the new MRF facility is a blessing in this. It's a long entrance driveway to the MRF, which has a scale. And then there's an intersection you go through and you can access anywhere you need to go in the landfill. And then you come back through the existing scale at the landfill. So we have created one-way flow of traffic. That's how we kept all the people off the street. And then that entrance is also wide enough that you can get 2 trucks wide, so you can double stack them. But it takes a lot of directions. People are impatient, they're in a hurry. So we've got 4 individuals out there, trying to get people going the right direction, and it's not been fun. Eddie sent me an email today that gave us 16 neighborhoods, not streets, subdivisions. And we started today picking up in those areas. It's going to take a while. We're not designed to pick up brush on the side of the road. It's not what we have in design. But we're lucky enough, we have that type of equipment to pick up dead animals. So we're using that truck that has a similar boom lift on it to load roll-off boxes. So we have to go down the street, use that truck, back the roll-off box, set it down on the ground, and then load it from there. So it's a slow process, but the neighborhoods that we were in today, a lot of people out walking, they just stopped and looked, and was all police was there. If there's any questions, I can help answer for you.
Any follow-up?
So I guess, Mac, what you're saying is it's probably going to be weeks, maybe a month, or what do you think? Because
when Eddie and I rode around almost 2 weeks ago now, I estimated 80,000 tons of brush on the ground. Last year total, 11,500 tons is what we dealt with at the landfill. So when we finished business today, we're probably a fourth of the way through the whole last year's number. So it's going to take a while. And then on top of that, Eddie's bunch and our bunch still have our regular duties. The one thing that we did do is we are not accepting any tree debris at the convenience centers. There's no way in the world we could keep up with it. So to answer your question, I'm going to say 3 months before we're finished.
Okay, so it sounds like we might get some federal funds to reimburse us for this. So would it be possible to hire contractors to help us with that pickup?
We've hired a contractor to help us at the landfill. Our strut or grinder is 25 years old. It's been rebuilt once, and it's hard to get parts for it, but it broke last Wednesday. So we stored brush, and there was 1,300 yards of brush stored on the ground. So we had a contractor come in and started this morning. And earlier when Todd was mentioning we're grinding at the landfill, and then we'll probably use that same contractor to go grind to other areas. But as far as trying to contract for the actual pickup service, that's not something we pushed real hard for because we hadn't been ready for that. We've still been trying to catch up with what's on the ground.
But 3 months is a long time for people to wait for debris pickup. So, if there's a way we could hire some contractors that might, and if the federal government's going to reimburse us for it, I would suggest, that we look into that.
Okay.
I should also note that he's talking from his solid waste department. We've got Eddie, who has rented, I think, 4 or 5 of the chipper trucks that are driving around. So we've got 2 departments. I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but we'll look into the federal disaster now that the governor and the president have signed off on. And I should also mention, you heard Mac talk about, thanks to Ricky bringing it to our attention, we raised the limit. Each resident has a 5-ton limit, and we're raised into 10-ton limit during this time for the 30 days, end of this month. And that's a loss of revenue of $2.5 to $3 million that we will lose on the loss of revenues for the tipping fees. But those are the things you do during, difficult times like we've had. Because you take a big oak tree where there's white oak or red oak, when it goes down the yard, that may be a 1 or 2 ton tree that's laying there, and you can hit your maximum capacity. So thanks to Mac, we worked through some issues, but it is a challenge for us right now. Other questions?
Any other questions for the mayor? I see none. I'm sorry.
I'd so much appreciate Eddie Hood and Mr. McNolan. Are they going to be able to handle this cost through their budgets? Are we going to be looking at additional money for renting and the contractors? Do we need to consider that at some point?
So at the present stage, Eddie's budget has got a very strong fund balance. We did go through how many tons? I forgot how many tons of salt we went through during this. It was several tons, but we've already in the process of replenishing a lot of that tonnage. Be prepared for the next one. Eddie's budget, I think, can withstand it. Solid waste, we'll look a little closer. We're assuming the worst happens, that we would have to not have those full tipping fees, but we'll see what actually happens. But we are charging the contractor. So if the contractor does work for you, brings it out to the landfill, you've paid that contractor that tipping fee he or she is delivering. This is for the homeowner, or we're doing something unusual. If somebody was loading up trash using a hauler, if you'll ride to the landfill with him or her that brought it out there, then we'll allow you to go in on your residence also.
Any other questions for the mayor? I see none. Thank you. Next, we have our schools report. Superintendent of Schools, Jason Golden.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, commissioners, for your work. To start, I'd like to just reiterate and maybe give you a little bit of extra insight into some of the work that we did with respect to the storm. It's been a week and a half or so since schools went back in session. We get questions often about the inclement weather days. We actually build 10 inclement weather days into our calendar. That's this year's calendar. We go 37 minutes more of instructional time every day than the state minimum. That gives us the ability to build that in. But that's the logistics of it. We use those days for safety purposes. And as we were going through the storm, you heard Todd Horton speak to Franklin High School and Fairview High School being opened as shelters. We knew that the plan, the emergency plan, included using us, and that work had been done many years before. But when the rubber hit the road, it was impressive to see the volunteers. Commissioner Aiello, your George Washington prayer hit those very points of what George Washington was hoping for out of the communities. And here we are, 250 years later, and we're living it in a place that I think was the frontier, maybe when he last remembered what we were doing. So many great volunteer work efforts. Middle Tennessee Electric, a couple of days into the storm, Chuck Barber, who comes and speaks to you all from time to time, gave me a call and described their protocol that they had down pat, and said, in essence, he didn't use these words, he said, it's time for you. But he specifically asked me, what do you need? We had identified every power outage we had because our food service system includes warnings for the freezers when power goes out, because there's a point at which we can't use the food anymore. So we knew the specific locations. We happened to have 13 locations. They had already resolved most of those. Fairview High School, our cafeteria manager stepped up. You can do a search engine search for Fairview High School cafeteria manager. You can find a great story on her. I think you can see Commissioner Jones in the background serving food of some of that video while that was being done. And I tell you what, I had so many really great conversations with folks who had no idea how close they were to needing help until that moment came. folks who lived in some great neighborhoods who felt like they were secure. A family where the wife had just had surgery and their temperature had dropped below freezing in their home, and there was a tree blocking their road. The sheriff's office and ambulance service came and found them in the middle of the night and brought them to the shelter. Just many stories like that. Diabetic who didn't have medication. All those stories of folks who had come and spent a few days in our high schools. So the work that we did was pretty incredible. And when I say we, I'm talking about these groups that you've already applauded. So I wanted to reemphasize that in the great work of all the folks in this community. As you know, we do have 3 items on your agenda. 2 of them are phase 2 of some renovation projects at Hillsborough and Grassland Middle Schools that are 45 and 40 years old respectively. We do ask you to consider that phase 2 since we've already started the work on those. We have a final item that is replacement of metal halide lights that have reached right about their end of life. Even replacement parts are difficult to find these days, as many manufacturers aren't doing those anymore. We do have some operational savings that Brian King mentioned in an email to you. I ask that you consider that as you're facing these difficult decisions with respect to funding. And one other item related to that is we know that right now we have an opportunity for some TVA rebates. That's another reason that we're bringing it to you right now. Again, we recognize you've got some funding challenges, but please consider that comparison of operational expenses to capital. It's certainly open to any questions that you all may have.
Any questions for Superintendent Golden? Commissioner Lawrence.
Mr. Chairman, good evening. Jason.
Is it not working? Are the requests to speak not working?
It's not working.
They're not on here.
Commissioner Smith had her hand up first.
If I may, Commissioner Lawrence, if you ask me the question, I'll repeat it so at least it gets. Okay, it just came
Mr.
on.
Smith's. Oh, okay. I'm live now. Okay, thank you. It wasn't working. So, okay. Jason, we several years ago, and I've actually had some conversation with school board members recently. There was discussions about naming rights for stadiums in regard to the light issue you're asking for tonight. Some very expensive lights. Where are those discussions? It seemed like those kind of died down, and it seemed like a reasonable idea to explore. But where are we with that? Right?
The board has passed a policy allowing for naming rights. That was a product of that discussion. And we have in not on these large scale projects, but we have been able to, for example, get video boards at our schools with a cash flow where we're able to sell advertisements. And we have not had that large naming right you might see at a large college at this point. But we do have some contracts, for example, with Matthews Team Sports. It is an Adidas contract where we're able to save some money on some of those items. So that possibility is open because the board opened the door for that.
Okay, good.
Commissioner Mary Smith.
Hi, Jason.
Hi.
Am I on? Okay. I just wanted to say thank you. I had the opportunity to volunteer with One Gen Away at Centennial High School on the 31st, and your staff did an amazing job. Your students did an amazing job. It was one of the coldest days we've had this winter. I think it was the coldest day we've had this winter, and the outpouring of community service was commendable. I was in awe. There must have been 300 people out there willing to go outside and work in the cold. So I just want to say thank you for opening up the school and allowing that to happen. It really, again, showed the best of this county.
Thank you, Commissioner. One Gen Away, I'm trying to remember the exact number of boxes of food that they were able to give away that day. It was in
300
the 300s.
families were served.
Thank you. I thought it was in the 300s. Also, the Well down in Spring Hill provided many of our students with go bags that day when they knew the storm was coming. So that Friday, a number of our students, due to the efforts of the Well, were able to bring some food home for their families as well. So many examples of that good work. But thank you very much for thanking our staff.
Commissioner Morton.
Thanks, Jason. I wanted to get a little bit of clarification on the lights. We talked about the summit budget, but I don't think we had a lot of things coming at us at that moment. So, how long are these lights expected to last?
So we don't have an exact date on that. The warranty's 10 years, and generally speaking, we have heard 15 plus years for operations. The replacement's going to be a lot easier than the startup. The replacement will be a lot less frequent and simpler than when we have to replace single metal halide bulbs by running a bucket truck in under those devices. That's the approximate for the main structure, with a less expensive replacement for those panels.
And then the school anticipates funding those through its capital
That is our
with debt rather than through operations.
Well, from a pure operational standpoint, we know that we do not have the operational funding for this, and we project that we probably won't ever have the operational funding for this, absent some substantial change in the funding structure. So we had put it on our 5-year capital plan, knowing that it was going to come this year, and so short answer is, we would ask you all to decide how to fund it, recognizing that you all have to make that decision.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Superintendent Golden? I see none.
Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent. Next, we have our hospital report. CEO Phil Mazuka and CFO Terry Fowler.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Before Terry gives his financial report for December, I wanted to update you on a couple things related to Williamson Health. First, I want to let you know how proud I am of our entire team for their work before, during, and after the recent ice storm. Thanks to their dedication and hard work in very trying conditions, we're able to fulfill our mission of meeting the healthcare needs of our communities. Leaders across Williamson Health met frequently in the days leading up to the storm to ensure we'd be fully prepared for all circumstances. Having these plans in place was critical during the storm and the aftermath. We did not miss a beat. Just a few examples of that commitment: additional clinical and dietary supplies were ordered and stocked to ensure continuity of care if deliveries were delayed during and after the storm. Facilities and maintenance teams began readying the campus, treating parking lots and walkways to minimize the impact of the ice storm. The best we could to keep access to the campus as safe as possible. Environmental services and nutritional services teams took on additional volume, not only caring for patients, but caring for the more than 200 colleagues who were sleeping at the hospital to ensure our patients could be cared for. EMS navigated treacherous roads to respond to a surge in calls and even participated in the emergency evacuation of residents from an assisted living facility. Our entire team, from our doctors, nurses, ancillary, and support staff, continued providing exceptional care to our patients while offering comfort and reassurance to family members and to each other. The most gratifying part for me was how the team members rallied around each other. Many went far beyond the call of duty, staying at the hospital for multiple days so that we can continue to provide necessary care. Despite the difficult and exhausting conditions, they lifted each other up with professionalism, grace, and even moments of humor. It's a real testament to the culture that we cultivated. Now for a couple other updates. Last month, I mentioned we'd once again be offering the coronary artery calcium screenings throughout the month of February, which is recognized as American Heart Month. These are being offered at $65 self-pay fee and can provide information that can prevent a medical emergency. In the first week, we've already scheduled close to 200 scans. Last year, we scheduled over 1,000 scans for the month. You can find more information about the scans and how to sign up on our homepage or our website at williamsonhealth.org. This month, we're releasing 2 new cardiology focus segments on our Health Talks from the Inside Out podcast. You can find these and many other educational podcasts on the Williamson Health YouTube channel. We're also helping educate the community this month on how to perform hands-only CPR and the proper use of AEDs. These videos can also be found on the Williamson Health YouTube channel. Staying with the cardiac theme, we installed a new cardiac CT unit in December, and we're going live with advanced cardiac procedures in the next couple of weeks. The cardiac CT provides early detection of heart disease, improved risk stratification, enhanced procedural planning, and improved outpatient outcomes. We're also getting a new cardiac MRI delivered in late February and plan to go live at the end of March or the first week of April. The cardiac MRI provides a non-invasive non-invasive assessment of heart structure, function, and blood flow, and assist in diagnosing complex heart conditions like cardiomyopathy, congenital defects, valve disease, and scarring. These cardiac CT and imaging capabilities are the first for us and another example on how we are committed to continuing to elevate the services we proudly offer to the community. I'll now turn it over to Terry for the financials.
Good evening, everyone. Here's the financial results for December. From a volume perspective, December volumes improved over prior month. Inpatient admissions were 2% below budget and 13% below prior year. Total surgeries were 3% above budget and 2% above prior year, and medical office visits were 8% up from prior year. From an earnings standpoint, net income was favorable to budget by $1.5 million and favorable year-to-date by $2.7 million, or 608%. December was a good month. We continued to operate efficiently as operating expenses as a percentage of net revenue continued to be lower than budget and prior year, both for December and year-to-date. Days cash on hand, all sources were 122 days, which was up 9 days from prior month. Debt coverage is 2.53, up from 2.47, and this concludes my report. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Mazuka or Mr. Fowler? Commissioner Matt Williams.
Phil, Terry, thank you for being here tonight. Later in our agenda, we have a resolution before us that considers the county commission retaining a consultant to do strategic analyses that is largely redundant and duplicative of what the health board has already done. I just want to ask a simple question. Should the board recommend a sale of the hospital, will that strategic information that we did with Coffin Hall be presented in conjunction with that at that time?
Should the board decide to stay independent or to sell the hospital, all of that information will become public. So the commission will have access to all that information that was used to make whatever decision that was.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I see none.
Thank you.
Thank you both. To give a quick progress report to those in attendance, we've got 2 more quick votes that we'll make, and then we'll get to our first resolution. Thank you for your patience. So next on the agenda is elections and appointments. We have just one with 3 individuals. We'll take them all together. Agriculture Committee, it's a 2-year term expiring 2/28. For the role of farmer, term expiring is Dwayne Perry. Nomination is Dwayne Perry. For farm woman, term expiring is Leslie Bingham. Nomination is Leslie Bingham. For county commissioner, term expiring is Paul Webb. Nomination is Megan Guffey. I've got a proper motion made by Commissioner Drew Torres, seconded by Commissioner Ricky Jones. Any discussion? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor of those nominations, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
22 yes, 1 abstain.
Motion passes. We now move on to our consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion when it comes up on the screen. Proper motion made by Commissioner Steve Smith, seconded by Commissioner Drew Torres. Any questions or comments about the consent agenda? Commissioner Tunnicliffe.
Yeah, due to employment, I'm going to abstain from this vote.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor of approval of the consent agenda, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
22 yes, 1 abstain.
Motion passes. On to our resolutions. Again, we've moved 3 resolutions to the front of the agenda. The first one being the H.G. Hills resolutions, which are 226-7 and 226-8. We'll then hear the annexation resolution 226-20, followed by resolution 226-19, and then we'll be back on track with the agenda as you have it. Resolution 226-7 An initial resolution authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $17,850,000 of general obligation bonds of Williamson County, Tennessee. Proper motion made by Commissioner Steve Smith, seconded by Commissioner Chaz Morton. The Law Enforcement Committee was 0 against, 4 in favor. Budget Committee was 5 in favor, 0 against. Property Committee voted to defer until March by a vote of 4-0. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
Yes, as y'all have heard and will recall from the last couple of meetings, the opportunity to acquire the 7+ acres over on Columbia Avenue has come up. The funding mechanism for that would be this $17 million, $850,000 bond. This first resolution is just the publication authorizing us to go forward with it.
And to that end, I see we have our first question on the board, but before I take the question, Commissioner Morton is correct. The first resolution is to put this in the paper. And to that end, if I may, I'll call on Ms. Riley, who wants to, I believe, inform us of a deadline that may occur and pass if we move on both of these resolutions in the same manner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, this first resolution does not approve the actual bond as far as going to market and such. However, it does gives us the ability to run in the paper. So we are required to run it in the paper for 20 days and have that publication run for 20 days in order to give our citizens time to be aware of the situation, to know what we're trying to do, and to give them time to respond accordingly. As you can see there in the bottom section, this is just for us to move forward so that we will move forward with that process without another month of delay. You can actually approve this one without approving the other one, or you can approve this. Well, you can approve this one and defer the other one. But this is just a timing. We usually have these separate months, but we put these together just to kind of help move the process along so we could get the information out to the public and give them an opportunity to respond if they choose.
And do I understand correctly, Ms. Riley, that if we were to defer both of these with the intent of deferring the second resolution to March, we may inevitably not be able to hear that resolution in March because that would not provide you the time to put it in the paper for that meeting?
It would move it back again to the end of April, 1st of May. Yes, sir.
Correct.
Currently, we are looking at our bond rates. We're estimating about 3.7. Obviously, we're not going to go to market if those rates change or those are not favorable. But if they are favorable and we already have that step kind of in process and already done, then it does give us the ability to move forward before those rates change again.
So if a commissioner's intent was to defer this resolution to 26-8 until March, they might not want to also defer to 26-7 because that would prevent us from hearing it in March.
Correct.
Okay. To that end, Commissioner Aiello removed your request to speak for the next resolution, I suspect? That's correct. Okay. Yeah. Anybody else wishing to speak on the resolution to put this in the paper? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor of Resolution 226-7, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
$11 yes, 11 no. And one abstain.
Resolution fails. On to Resolution 226-8, a resolution authorizing the issuance, sale, and payment of not to exceed $17,850,000 of general obligation bonds of Williamson County, Tennessee, and providing for the levy of taxes for the payment of debt services on those bonds. Proper motion made by Commissioner Chaz Morton, seconded by Commissioner Jennifer Mason. The Law Enforcement Committee was 0 against, 4 in favor. 0 in favor, 4 against. Budget Committee was 5 in favor, 0 against. Property also voted 4-0 to defer this to March. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
This is the actual funding mechanism. However, since we're not publishing, I think this resolution is probably moot.
Resolution stands on its own. You'd have to come back for publication in March. You would slow the process, but you can still vote on the resolution.
Thank you.
Questions? I have the first one from Commissioner Sean Aiello.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know the commission has heard a lot about the Triple J Committee and the work that it did for not only the courthouses, but the Juvenile Justice Center and the Sheriff's Department. For those of you that weren't on the commission, back when this commission was put together, Judge Woodruff put together an excellent timeline of what we dealt with as a commission that ultimately resulted in a plan in 2020 that called for complete renovations of our existing courthouse to be done by 2023. That plan completely fell off this commission's radar. That plan was put together after dozens of meetings over several years, thousands of money spent in planning that generated a 172-page report just for the courthouse. And it's no wonder the judges are frustrated with us for not following through on the actions and the efforts that were well spent on the Triple J project. And it's also no wonder that we're now hearing from citizens not only that are concerned about what our courthouse is, what the courthouse needs are, but where it's going to be and what that means for the future of not just Williamson County, but the city center as well. There are legitimate concerns raised regarding the acquisition of the property without input from stakeholders or full vetting and without any construction plans. It's apparent and should be apparent to the commission that there are needs of the courthouse that need to be addressed and need to be addressed soon. I'm currently preparing a resolution for next month to reinstate the former courthouse commission that was previously used for the addition that was created for the existing build out of the courthouse. They will pick up where the Triple J left off. This will be directed by the commission and will involve stakeholders from the judiciary, the DA's office, the PD's office, services, historic concerns, and other community organizations, and importantly, the city of Franklin. We've talked about parking issues, we've talked about expansion and plans, and I think it's important to have input and vetting from all of these interested groups. And this and revisions to the courthouse need to be examined by the commission to develop clear timelines, needs, actionable items, and goals to get courthouse improvements and perhaps relocation off the ground, such that the judges know that we actually care about this judicial system, of which our county is a shining example for not just the state, but frankly, I think the country. The level of support that we provide to this very important institution, I think, reflects our care for the rule of law and the judges that have given their efforts and the lawyers that practice here and the citizens that have come before us. So for that reason, I would support a deferral if someone were to make a motion for the same, pending examination by this hopefully newly formed commission.
I have a motion to defer. Do I hear a second? Seconded by Commissioner Lawrence as well as a few others.
To the next March meeting.
To the March Commissioner meeting. So now I'll take questions or comments on the motion to defer. Commissioner Mason on the motion to defer?
Understand the timeline, we're out of time because we voted to defer at property to the March meeting because we understood that we had 120 days from the time the contract was signed, and that was in December. So if we don't vote on this property by April, and you got to remember we don't meet in April. So if we don't vote on this property in March, we're out of time. And since the previous resolution failed, there's no way to do notice and vote in March. So essentially all of this is moot. The way I understand, the timelines have now been set up and knocked down. And so I just want to make sure I'm understanding that correctly, that we're under that 120-day timeline. We're not meeting in April. So if we don't vote it on March, we're out of time. But since the previous resolution failed, we can't vote on it in March. Am I correct?
Council.
I don't believe that's correct. You could still vote on the bond issue and the contract if that were your desire. You could execute that. You would still then need to file a resolution and pass a resolution for notice on the bonds. The payment is separate from the contract on the property itself. You would be delaying the ability to close on bonds until at least 20 days post the March meeting because of the failure to pass the previous resolution. So that would be your constraint. You would have to pass a resolution in March that said you were going to publish for the bonds, and you would have to approve the contract at the same meeting in March. And then you would publish after that. You could not issue the bonds until 20 days post meeting in March.
So you don't believe, if I'm understanding correctly, if we voted to defer, because that's what property voted to do we had several reasons for doing that. One, we wanted to get a cost analysis on the property, and also the downtown, Franklin Society wanted chance to kind of weigh in and get feedback from the community. I just wanted to make sure if we do vote to defer, we are still able to pursue the purchase if that's what we decide to do in March.
Yes, you would be able to comply with the contract and purchase the property, but you would lose the ability to issue bonds for a period of time.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Clifford on the motion to defer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm not sure who the appropriate person is to answer these questions about the contract with the property owner, whether that's the mayor or Mr. Cross. Mr. Cross, Mr. Chair, if we are able to invite Mr. Cross up to
Absolutely.
answer some questions. The contract with the owner, I think, is the 120-day limit that we're speaking of. Can you tell us a little bit about what that contract is and if there are opportunities for us to either extend or renew that time limit if that time comes to pass?
Can you answer that, Jeff? Jeff drew the contract.
Okay.
I was just the deliverer of it. So.
We have 120 days to do our due diligence and make a decision. The contract is conditioned on approval of the county commission. If the county commission does not approve it within that period, then the contract would lapse. That doesn't mean you couldn't extend the contract by mutual agreement or ask for a new contract, but that contract would lapse if you do not exercise your rights within that period of time.
Okay, I think that answers my question. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Hayes on the motion to defer.
Yes, hi. When is the contract date? What is the contract date that started the 120-day clock? Can anyone inform the commission of this?
It's December 9th, I believe.
December 9th is our recollection.
Okay. Out of curiosity, is there a reason the commission wasn't notified in January of this contract and the timeline ticking away? I was just curious. I don't know who to direct that to, maybe Jim.
I already voted to.
Because I do think we should defer. I think there's a lot of information we're lacking. I do agree with the judges. I think we are definitely need a new courthouse. I've spent way too much time in there, quality time, and I do think you definitely are in need of a better space. But I think we need more information. So I'm all for deferring and getting more information. But can we get an answer on why we weren't informed?
Yeah, Commissioner Hayes, if you remember, we voted to put down earnest money on this project in November.
Okay. But that didn't tell me, I mean, we weren't told that there was a contract going out and the clock starting. I don't know. We just were lacking some detail there. But okay.
Commissioner Lawrence on the motion to defer.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to thank the judges for coming tonight and for in the last meeting and for the emails they sent us and explaining their position and bringing this to our attention. I do think we have focused on the Triple J project on the first two J's, but we have sort of left you guys out of the discussions and kind of put that part of the project on the back burner. And you've made us aware that this is a dire need. I really find it hard to believe we're in this situation with a building that was built in 2005 and you moved in and it was already inadequate. That was obviously poor planning from the start of the current building, which there's nothing we can do about that tonight. But we're being asked to vote on something tonight where we really don't have the information we need. We don't have any information on the scope of the project, the type of building we would put on the project, the cost of that building. I mean, we're not just buying a piece of property here. We're talking about building a building on it, and we don't know anything about the cost of that building, nor do we know what it might look like if we were to go back to the original plan and look at that plan and the renovations that we had planned originally, as Commissioner Aiello alluded to, and possibly modify those plans to meet the needs, or could we modify those plans to meet the needs that you brought to our attention? Those are just those are questions we don't have answers to tonight. So for that reason, I think I'm gonna support the deferral. And I think in any situation like this, I think that property's been on the market for a while now. So I do believe that we could probably get an extension on that if we needed to. We could start working on that now, but. I think it's prudent for us, though, without the information that we need to defer this tonight.
I believe Mayor Anderson wishes to speak.
Mr. Chairman, it's appropriate, I think, if you would, since we got the group, and it looks like you're going to get a consensus on the deferral. And I think it's important for you to hear Jim and Jeff wherever he got to. Is he still here somewhere, Jim? To hear a little bit of things, hear about the report. If you all will remember, when we did the JJJ, we were interrupted a couple of years by COVID. But then the jail, the juvenile, all of those costs added up to a very sizable number that you were struggling with. I'm thankful to the judges and all the courthouse people for letting us delay until this time. We told them we would come forth with that. And so that's where we are. You can listen to Jeff if you would allow it, Mr. Chairman. Absolutely. And to Jim, because the owner, which we will, let me say this, Kevin just told me we'll have the report, the appraisal back on this within 3 weeks. We will meet the March deadline for the current appraisal. But you need to hear the full story of why it's dire that we do something for our judges. It's security is number one. And the ability, Judge Taylor told me the other day, just the wait time to get into the queue to get into the courtrooms now for domestic violence and all of the things we deal with, that he deals with, it's critical. Now, we're not going to be, if we started on it today, if we find another location, and if you don't like the one, that's fine. We'll try to find another location. But these men and women, we met over a period of time looking at different locations out there that would become available. Nothing was said that we were going to sell the historical courtroom or the other one. We don't have those answers now. It's a process you go through. This land that's being offered to us is just one step of that. It's not my idea. It's not Jim's idea. It's nobody. It became available. I understand Franklin wanted to preserve it. I get that. But I also have a bigger picture that we have to look at, and that's our court system. The current court system, if you remodel it, spent the money to remodel it, you still don't have parking. You just don't have any parking downtown. So please take that into consideration as Jeff comes up and Jim. Jim, you want to try to run this, if you don't mind, while everybody's here, we can have this great public input, but we do have to have a new courthouse.
I'll just quickly say while Jeff's coming up, just so you know, we have had a phase 1 environmental done on the property, which came back clean. We have a boundary survey, a topo, and an ALTA survey that's due by the end of this week. And we are investigating utilities to the site. We had a call with the city today to talk about that. And Gresham Smith, who is our architect, who you're about to hear from, Jeff, who's doing the other projects, has done some test fits and layouts on this site, and it definitely will hold the plan for the courthouse and give a lot of future expansion down the road. So hopefully we don't have another courthouse when they move into it that's not adequate enough. So Jeff can explain what was the master plan was in 2019.
Okay, thank you. I'll try to do a quick overview of the master plan, and then obviously any questions for any specific items that you're interested in. So when we did the master plan in 2019, First of all, the plan was set for a horizon of 2044. So it was a 25-year plan. We're now about 6 years into that, so it's a less than 20-year plan at this point. But the focus of the study was to try to determine how we could accommodate the growth that was anticipated for the court systems, the needs of the county over that period of time, and do it within the existing county real estate downtown. So that included the existing historic courthouse, the annex, and what we still refer to as the new judicial center. One of the challenges was always parking, and because there was no real option to create a dedicated parking solution, parking was effectively left out of the plan as a strategy. It was always understood to be an issue, but fitting it within the larger context of downtown Franklin was outside the boundaries of our study. But our focus on the facilities themselves, I'll say that we did find a way to fit the required program into the site and existing facilities that we had to work with. But I think I described it before in here as being somewhat of a tortured plan, in that you have 3 separate buildings. 2 of them are connected to the third by a long elevated hallway. You have an existing building, the new judicial center, that does in fact face all the operational concerns and efficiencies and limitations of capacity for expansion built into it that the judges described earlier. And you also have 2 historic buildings, the historic courthouse and its annex, that are really not designed to accommodate a modern approach to security and separation of pathways of users, the public, the detainees, and the judges and court staff. So the challenge starts to be, how do you create a solution that accommodates these things by repurposing a lot of existing space? And while I would say that it's feasible to do so, we found that it created a fair amount of inefficiency in the plan, a lot of additional circulation. Because the elements of the building are so far flung, it requires a lot of circulation to get from one portion to the other portion of the building. And then challenges in flexibility too. Some courts ended up being so remote that they could never be ever repurposed effectively for, let's say, a criminal proceeding where you might have a detainee that needs to follow a secure pathway. So there were limitations in the long-term flexibility of the facility as well. And then finally, in my quick summary here, there was a very small plot of real estate just on the east side of the new judicial center, was really our only real estate that we could add additional space onto, new courtroom. So the county is going to grow, the needs of the courts are going to grow. There will need to be new courtroom spaces that the existing facilities do not have the space to accommodate. So new footprint was required. And that new footprint could only fit in one space. And that space, as well, as you would guess, is also fairly far flung and doesn't really fit very nicely into, or efficiently, into the existing facilities circulation plan. So we found again that we would have some struggles in getting people and detainees and courts employees back and forth to these new courtrooms that would exist on the far east side of that small campus downtown. And then finally, I guess I would add that once this expansion was made, there was effectively no place else to expand after that. So once the program reached the end of its 25-year or 2044 lifespan, there were effectively no other options to expand beyond that in that location. And I'll stop there.
Any questions or comments, or questions or comments on the motion to defer? Commissioner Sturgeon.
Yeah, it seems from the discussions we've had so far that we're saying, do we need a courthouse or not? A new courthouse or not? And I would say, yes, we do. But I haven't heard any reason why it needs to be on this property. I haven't heard anything that explains to me why it's got to be that, or why we should be paying over $3 million an acre for this property. I haven't seen any comparables. I asked at the budget meeting. I was hoping to see him tonight, but I haven't seen him. So what is deferring kind of keeps this property still alive. And personally, I think it's time to find a third option that's more economical. And, I like the mayor's term, the best and highest use of the land. I think we need to find a property that's more suited to the purpose and leave this one alone. So I'm going to be voting no on the deferral and no on the resolution, because that's my opinion. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on the motion to defer? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor of deferring Resolution 226-8 to our March Commissioner meeting, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
21 yes, 2 no.
Motion passes. The resolution is deferred until March. On to Resolution 226-20. Resolution of the Williamson County Board of Commissioners requesting review and amendment of the Tennessee's Comprehensive Growth Plan and annexation status to address county concerns related to annexation and growth management. A proper motion made by Commissioner Lisa Hayes, seconded by Commissioner Pete Stresser. The tax study was 5 in favor, 0 against. Property Committee was 3 in favor, 1 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Petty.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I want to preface my remarks by saying that, I think that the people who have come before me in managing this county have done an excellent job. I think they've done their job was too well done because we're having a problem with unintended consequences with growth. I talk to my constituents and to a person, they're concerned about the traffic that we have here, the congestion, and they're keeping up with the infrastructure. It's very difficult to get anything done and get anything changed with regards to the roads, but we keep adding developments that put more pressure on it. And one example I think is illustrative of this is the bridge over the Harpeth River on Mac Hatcher. It's 2 lanes, and at the moment, West Haven is in the process of adding somewhere around 1,100 to 1,200 new residents in that location. They've got the apartments for the 55 plus. That's 211 people, and they're going to build somewhere around another 190 homes. And the Armistead project is going to add another 837 homes and a 75-bed motel. And so it already is crowded. If you're coming from Murfreesboro Road going west on Mac Hatcher in the afternoon, and you get to Hillsboro, it can be backed up half a mile. And I know that there are plans in place to change that intersection somewhat to help, and I'm sure that will help. But the problem is, you still have two lanes across the bridge, and the earliest that I can tell that we will ever have another bridge cross there is 2032 or somewhere in that time frame. So right now, at the county, we don't have any say in asking for more detailed impact studies of what this growth is going to do. And I think it's, I understand the partnership, I get all of that, but my concern is that we keep adding more and more pressure on our infrastructure, and I don't know when we get to the point where when are we too full, I guess is another way to say it. So that's my concern. And also the whole idea of representation. I've talked to a number of people that live in the unincorporated areas, and I agree that they really don't have representation with regard to this, and I think that this is one way to do that. And I know it seems kind of heavy-handed, and it's another layer of government, but I think we need to start really looking seriously at how we're going to continue to grow and how it's going to continue to impact the quality of life in Williamson County.
Question or comment from Commissioner Lisa Hayes.
As a co-sponsor, I feel very strongly about this. I want to have a great relationship with our cities. Obviously, they are very important. We get lots of tourist dollars from them. But we have to remember that our citizens that live in unincorporated move there for a reason. They want a voice, and I am one of their voices, and I live in unincorporated, so I understand. I don't want to be forced into a UGB. I don't want to be annexed. I live where I live because I don't want that, and I think they deserve a voice, and I think we do need to have a better management plan. I think one of our wonderful constituents, Ms. Curtis, proved that we had an interlocal agreement and it was sidestepped. So I really think this allows us to have a fair footing for our unincorporated residents. I think it's long overdue. And I would really appreciate your support. And if you have any questions, feel free to let us know.
Commissioner Herbert.
There are parts of this. I'm a speaker on. Okay. There are parts of this resolution that I'm for and parts of it I'm not that crazy about. But to give a little history of this, Chaz and I were on the UGB committee that went on for 2 years. We thought it would never end because we had a couple of cities, most of the cities were great to work with. If you didn't want to be in the UGB, they did not put you in. They respected the citizens' voice. But there were a couple of cities that didn't do that. They wanted to take in these huge amounts of land and put it in their city. And not until the CARE group, our yellow shirts, got involved, did they start listening to what the residents were saying. One city finally broke down. I guess they couldn't take the pressure anymore and did not put anybody in their UGB that did not want to be, which I was thrilled with. But there was one city that continued to fight it. And it was terrible because they basically told people in the UGB, there was one person that was wanting to build a house on their property, and they were told by a employee of the city to not do that because they'd eventually get a road through their property, even though they're in the UGB. And then you had somebody that's land had been in the family for 100 years. They did not want to be in the UGB. They were never going to be in the city. The city didn't have the law right now, the right to make them. And I feel like that is the property owner's rights to do what they want with their property. And a city should not force them to be in the UGB. So I'm going to have to vote yes for this, even though I didn't agree with everything in it, because I believe in property rights owners. Thank you.
Commissioner Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We had an extensive discussion about this the other night in the Property and Tax Committee meeting, and one of the things I mentioned was I actually read a review of this resolution that was done by the Franklin planning attorney, and she actually agreed with many points in here and didn't have a lot of problems with most of it. The one issue that I think is a problem is number 4 regarding the urban growth boundary. And so I would like to propose an amendment to that to change that language a little bit to make it a little more clear and prevent what would be essentially the opposite of spot annexation. So what I would like to say is instead, if you basically take out the wording of resolution or the point number 4, and replace it with this language. Upon the request of the property owner, allow for the removal of property located on the outer borders of the UGB if the property has been located in a UGB for 15 years or longer and has not been proposed for annexation. So this would prevent cities from taking in big chunks of land as some of them did in our discussions, and just letting it sit there for indefinite amount of time before they annex it. We've got people in this room tonight that are in that situation where they've been in the UGB for 20 years and there's never been any proposed annexation, and those people need to be able to request to be removed. The city's not going to do anything to move that into the city, then they need to have an option to get out. So I would propose to change that language to make that a little clearer about what we're asking for there.
Could you repeat your motion?
Can you repeat
Okay.
your motion, please, Commissioner Lawrence?
Upon the request of the property owner, allow for the removal of property located, I would say, I'm going to change it to this. Removal of property located adjacent to the border of the UGB if the property has been located in the UGB for 15 years or longer and has not been proposed for annexation.
And this is to replace number 4 or in
Yes.
addition to number 4?
Yes.
Okay. I've got a proper motion. Do I hear a second? It fails to get a second. No, I'm sorry, Commissioner Stresser. Okay, I have a proper motion and a second to change number 4. Do you guys need to hear that again to get it loaded?
Well, there's no way she's gonna load that. It'll just be an amendment by Commissioner, proposed by Lawrence.
Okay.
You don't have that in writing?
I did, yeah.
Well, you need to email it to the clerk, please.
Yeah.
Or Jamie,
Jeff Whitney.
or Jeff Woodby, either one. All right, questions or comments on the motion to change number 4? The verbiage is coming. Commissioner Sturgeon.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm curious, this amendment says that if you've been in the UGB for 15 years or more, you can ask to be taken out, correct? So what happens if you haven't been in there for 15 years? You don't have a choice, right? I'm trying to understand the thought behind the amendment.
Well, can I answer that, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, you can.
Okay, thank you. We had a process which we went through, which was an arduous process, as Commissioner Herbert said. It took 2 years. The municipalities asked for what they wanted. We went back and forth. Some of them did take properties out of their UGB. I think some of us felt like they were asking for more than they should have taken in some cases, and they probably won't develop it within the next 15 years. So if they're not going to do anything with it, then they can ask to be removed. Now, there actually is a process right now that you can ask to be removed from the UGB. And that would be to go to the committee that has been formed, the growth committee, and that meets every 5 years. And you can request formally to be taken out of the UGB. What we're talking about here is at the state level. We already have a process in place at the county level. So you can ask to be removed from the UGB if you want to at the county level. We're just asking the state to encode something in the law that gives people inside an urban growth boundary an opportunity to get out. So this is state law we're trying to change here.
The implication is if they really want to develop your land, then you have to stay in the UGB, and then that expires in 15 years.
Correct.
That's your intent?
Well,
Is that for grandfathered in or
again, this is state law. you actually have an opportunity to get out if you want to in the county. If you want to request that from the growth committee, you can ask for that to be
You could ask, but
taken.
they could say no.
Right.
Yeah.
But this gives the state, if we have state law, that gives it more teeth. But you know, reasonable planning, any reasonable planning, if they haven't done anything in 15 years, it would make sense that they probably.
Well, one more point is that they still can't annex your land unless the majority of the people
Right.
in that section vote they want to be annexed.
Correct.
So if you're in a neighborhood of 100 people and most of them want to be annexed, then you're annexed, right?
Right.
So you kind of have a vote, no?
Point of clarification here. Commissioner Lawrence, just let me know if I'm right or wrong here. As number 4 is written now, a person can get out of the urban growth boundary if this passes immediately. Is your motion to extend that they would stay in the urban growth boundary for 15 years and then be able to get out if no proposal for annexation had been made in that time?
Well, here's the problem with this language. If you're inside the urban growth boundary right now, but you're not on the border, let's say, and you don't want to be in the urban growth boundary, you can request to get out, but then you've got the problem of the people behind you that are on the borders. What if they don't want to get out of the urban growth boundary? And then you're basically creating an island of non-urban growth boundary inside the urban growth boundary. That's what the municipalities will never accept that. So we're trying to get some language that we can get passed at the state level. So that's why I changed the language. And actually, I've worked with Christy on this language to get this language today. So Christy, if you could come up and we talked about this the other night, and Christy helped me get this language together because it is a problem if you're going to say any property owner can get out of the UGB. So Christy, could you comment on that?
Yeah. I was just helping with the wording. Annexation. Yes, you had expressed a concern that the number 4, as it currently is drafted, would create some potential donut holes in the UGB, and wanted to focus more on if someone was in the UGB that wanted to come out of the UGB that were adjacent to the borders of the UGB, and therefore that would not create the donut hole that you were concerned about. And so I worked to clarify the language of the amendment that Commissioner Lawrence was proposing.
Can I finish my question?
If it pertains to his motion, yes.
Yeah. Well, I understand the donut hole thing, and I think that's a different issue than 15 years. But is it or is it not true that you don't get annexed unless the people vote to be annexed?
So I would say that that's 99% true. Again, and I will just say this, especially with a lot of our municipal partners, and I don't practice annexation law, but I will tell you what I know. If you have agricultural property, you cannot be annexed without your consent. You can ask to be annexed. There is the process of doing annexation by referendum. So in that instance, if there's a property of 100 parcels and 51 of them want to come in, then there's the potential for some parcels. But again, it's a very arduous, it's a very expensive process to do a referendum. And so cities, as I understand it, not wanting to speak for them, have been loath to do that without the property owner consent.
So the real rub is when somebody says, I want to be annexed, and their neighbors around them are like, oh no, this is going to become a development and it's going to affect my quality of life. Right? Isn't that the real issue?
I think that has to do with this particular motion.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to Commissioner Morton on the motion to change line item 4.
Yes, thank you. Commissioner Lawrence's proposed amendment will, I expect, be followed by several other amendments. The point of all this is that land use planning is very complicated. Urban growth boundaries are complicated. Annexation law is complicated. In 2 years with trained planners and land use attorneys, we got an imperfect plan. And there is no perfect plan. To the motion itself, though, my concern is that we need to get this as good as we can. They have closed bills at the state level. Send them a bill now that they're not going to look at until next year when I can continue this dialogue, try to get this as good as nobody here doesn't think we need to do better. How we do it, we may want to do it at state level, we may want to do it local. But sending this up as it is doesn't even give us the best chance of sending the best thing to the state because they're not accepting them now. They will not vote on this now. And now I've got a prolonged period of time to try to get this better without an amendment tonight that throws off everything without having to say, I like 5 of these and don't like 3 of them. I wish this would change. I hate to ask for more time, but I don't see there's no reason not to from the state level because the state will not take this up in this session. My statement of it is I hope we will consider deferring this so that we can get it right because I think that this motion and all the others are just going to compound the problem and we're going to wish we had something else and send it up to the state.
Commissioner Mary Smith on the motion.
So, thank you, Chair. So with regards to, I guess, the amendment, I kind of sort of agree with Commissioner Morton, but I feel like we're overcomplicating it a bit and we're putting too many stipulations. I think this is just a list of considerations for our General Assembly to consider. There is a bill, SB 2311, that does have some of the items that we are asking for consideration on. And my understanding is that the Tennessee County Commission Association met on this on Friday and unanimously passed that this is something that they would move forward on. So I do think there is an opportunity for them to at least look at some of these considerations during the legislative process and possibly look at some amendments for this. So I feel like the things are going to change, right? Goes to the state. Who knows what they might decide to do or not do. So I think for now, I would prefer just to keep it simple and just say, listen, there needs to be a mechanism for people that don't want to be part of the UGB. But as far as the donut holes, to Commissioner Sturgeon's point, even if they're part of the UGB, they don't have to ever be annexed. So you're still going to have donut holes if you decide to annex all around them. So I'm not really sure that this solves for the donut hole, issue. So I would propose to not vote yes on the amendment and just take the considerations as they are.
Commissioner Hayes on the motion to amend.
I agree that this is for the state, and I just want to make comment to clarify that it says, you can go to the coordinating committee and as a resident, and you can request to be taken out. Well, there's 2 commissioners outnumbered by a lot of city people. So honestly, I've talked to people. It's very unlikely that will ever happen. Clarification number 1. To have a city referendum does not allow unincorporated folks to have a voice. I understand what Commissioner Lawrence is trying to do, and thank you, Commissioner Smith, for pointing out that we had a unanimous support at the state level of commissioners for this bill at the House or at the state. But I just think we're just watering it down. So I don't know that I support it. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on the motion to amend? Seeing none, is it loaded to vote electronically or do we need a voice vote? So we can vote on it electronically. If you're in favor of the amendment proposed to the change of number 4 made by Commissioner Lawrence, signify by pressing your yes button. If you're opposed to the motion to amend, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Commissioner Herbert? No, it's frozen. Okay, you want a voice vote? Record Commissioner Herbert as a no and then record the rest of the votes, please. Mr. Whitby?
6 yes, 17 no.
All right, the motion to amend fails. We're back to the resolution as it stands.
If she's voting no, it's 18
Oh, yeah, and if
no.
you're,
Or is that right? 18?
is the math right on that, Commissioner Whitby? Was it 18 no with Commissioner Herbert's voice vote, or was that? Okay. Okay. Then we're good on the count. Back to the resolution at hand. Questions or comments on the resolution? Commissioner Williams, I have next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This resolution, purely as a county commissioner, sitting in this chair looking at this, don't have a lot of problems with this resolution. It requires a lot of additional reporting from the cities. It de facto, in bullet point number 7, gives us veto rights if we don't approve the plan of services to veto annexations as well. It's great for the county. However, I'm willing to bet that there's a city association up at the hill that equally unanimously voted against supporting something like this. And let's temper expectations. This resolution is nothing more than a request to our delegation that's going to put them smack dab in the middle of a county issue and a city issue. And in my observation, they don't touch those with a 10-foot pole. There's a couple of things missing. If you go back, it was the mid-2010s, the annexation law was amended that allowed not just citywide referendums, but allowed annexations to happen with property owners. And in my opinion, that's largely when the problem started, because cities could start annexing based on just kind of sniping certain properties. This resolution doesn't address that. I think also going back to the spirit of collaboration with the municipalities, and this is going to be caveat off of Commissioner Morton's comments. We just went through a novel process in redesigning the UGBs and putting interlocal agreements in place with the municipalities that's not been done anywhere else in the state. I think we have, here in this county, have built a model that should be introduced as a bill up at the state and can be refined. I think these bullet points address a number of the issues that can further refine that model. But what I would prefer to see is our delegation bring forward a bill that models what we just did with all 6 municipalities and try and encourage a statutory requirement statewide to expand that model and also improve upon it. Because these are things that we're encountering now that since we've gotten the plan in place, we're addressing, oh, wait, okay, there's a pain point here and there's a pain point there. I'm not saying that these points are mute. I'm just saying we have to recognize that there's a snowball's chance that this is going to pass at the state level because you're putting our delegation between county interest and city interest. And instead, we need to approach it with just like we did with our neighbors in the county in a collaborative way. And it would be a better bill that I would like to ask our delegation to support. So if forced to vote on this tonight, I'm going to vote yes, right? Because it's purely in the county's interest. But we have to temper expectations as to what we're actually accomplishing with this resolution. Thank you.
Commissioner Sturgeon?
My question is, or my thought is, I mean, I understand what Commissioner Morton is saying about they're not taking any new bills right now in the legislature. Maybe the timing should be later. I understand that, but I'm thinking if we already have a bill that they're looking at, we pass this one, it would tell the legislature that we think we need an improvement and that people in the unincorporated county do need to have some recourse, some representation in the process. So if that's why I'm thinking it's right to pass this so that the legislature, what it's working on now, that they can modify it or understand that Williamson County is behind the process to improve it. So I guess that's more of a comment than a question.
Commissioner Lawrence?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and for being so diligent over so many years, really, and this group that has been making us aware of issues in their areas, and also concerned about their own quality of life in the areas where they live. And one of the reasons I brought that amendment was because that was after the city attorney looked at this at the city of Franklin. particular issue was the only issue that she really pushed back hard on. And so what we're trying to do here is to get something that will pass at the state level. And so that's why I suggested modifying that. But I think Commissioner Williams is probably right. It's unlikely that we're going to see a lot of change at the state level that you're going to want to see. So that puts us back to the county level. And I think what we're going to have to come to the realization is that we're going to have to work these out amongst ourselves with our friends at the city. And I'm thankful that there's one alderman and the mayor here tonight, and Mayor Moore came to speak to this issue. And what I like about this resolution is it started a dialogue. And I know that some of the city aldermen, at least at the city of Franklin, aren't real keen on the idea of non-contiguous annexation. That's a real problem area that we need to address. The UGB issue is also an area that these people here tonight feel strongly about. If they don't want to be in the UGB, they want to have a way to be removed. That's another issue that we need to talk about. So I'm thankful that this resolution is coming tonight, not because I expect it to do a lot at the state level. If it does, that's great. But if it doesn't, at least we've started a conversation, and we have the attention of some of the municipalities, and some of them have emailed us, and some of them are here tonight. So hopefully that will start a very constructive dialogue that we can work from.
Commissioner Webb.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to follow up on Commissioner Lawrence. I agree with that. This starts a dialogue that goes to the next step. But my concern, as you know, I've been involved with Tennessee County Commissioner Association for years. And when I talk to fellow commissioners from around the state, most of them do not have growth problems. They want it. And I've had commissioners say at a public meeting at one of these conventions, say, we need to have the local government encourage the developers. My fear, if we pass this and the state legislature gets a hold of it, they could throw out what we've already got. And we've got a good program. As we've heard tonight, a good program can be made better. And we should continue to do that, but do it here and address our problems. We kick this to the state, we could be way worse than we are now. We could go back to the tiny town situation from 2 or 3 decades ago, and that's my fear. I do not want to go back where you annex a piece here and a piece there. You annex to the edge of the road. We really don't want the state legislature, where many of these rural constituencies are dying for growth, to be telling us what we should be doing. Yes, our representatives will carry our load, but remember there's 132 members up there, and they have different interests than we do. Let us take what we've got and make it better and keep it local. We've heard from our constituents. We've heard from each other. Let's work this out locally. We can do better. We throw it to the state, folks. I'm really concerned. I mean, I'm going to protect Brentwood, and they could. It's already been threatened to throw out our 1 acre residential density. And I don't want that to happen. And I don't want that to happen any more than somebody getting annexed in the city doesn't want to. But throwing it to the state, to me, is asking for trouble. And this could still get up there and get in that bill that Senator Hensley's prepared. Because, you know, once a bill is on the floor, it can be rewritten and changed and all kinds of crazy things. So I urge you, I'm going to vote against it because I'm afraid of the state taking something we've got and messing it up, and encourage us to work locally to make this better. Thank you.
Commissioner Clifford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I agree with the sentiment and the issues behind this resolution. There's clearly some pain points here. I don't disagree with the yellow shirts in the audience. I live in the unincorporated part of the county, and every day when I get on the road, I get frustrated. When I drive to work, I get frustrated. We all feel the pains of growth, and we need to talk about what to do here. And I struggle with this issue and balancing some principles. I'm a very conservative Republican, and property rights are very important. I also try to balance our duty as local government to take care of our citizens. And I think property owners should have freedom. but growth decisions must not unfairly burden our existing taxpayers or create long-term government expansion problems. I think some of the things that we need to be talking about is a framework that solidifies that there's no forced annexations, that we respect our private owners' requests when they do want annexation, that we require our cities to prove that they can provide services responsibly, that we ensure annexation does not shift costs unfairly to our county residents or county government, and then also encouraging growth where infrastructure already exists, which is typically in the cities. This resolution is very prescriptive in its changes to state law, and I have not witnessed much collaborative discussion between our city partners and county government about what we could do for reasonable solutions. And I think we're blessed because we have a great relationship with our cities. Not every county has that. We have great relationships with all of our cities, and I think we can leverage that to have some good discussion about what needs to happen here to fix these pain points. We have a couple of mechanisms already in place with the Growth Committee. I think if we take this issue to the committee intentionally and make them discuss it and work on it, I think we'll get some outcomes generated from that. That just hasn't been done yet. And we've had cities asking for that. They're at the table, they're willing to come to the table and work with us. And hearing the comments around this room, I think all of us agree with that. I don't want to speak for you, but that's the sense I'm getting from this room. And I feel like if we took some time to do it, we might come out with something great that keeps the relationships that we have with our cities. So I think because the fact that we do have some time, considering where session is, whether or not it fits under an existing bill is probably to be debated or legally looked at. Not sure where that is. We don't have that answer tonight. But I think we do have some time. And I think if we continue this track, looking how prescriptive this is, we could spend countless hours going through motions and amendments and all sorts of different things as this body by itself without input from our cities. So I'm going to make a motion to table this resolution pending our efforts to work with our cities in the Growth Committee and see where that takes us. And then we can ultimately determine to untable this motion if we deem it necessary. So I make a motion to table this resolution.
I have a proper motion to table. Do I hear a second?
Second.
From Commissioner Megan Guffey. Proper motion and proper second made. Any questions or comments on the motion to table? Commissioner? Oh, it's not debatable. Sorry. All right, so Robert's Rule of Law doesn't allow us to debate this one. So we have a proper motion and a second to table. And if it's loaded, we'll vote. If you're in favor, I'm giving her a second. Well, that's when while I'm talking, that gives her time to type. Procedural question, sure.
Motion is tabled. For it to be untabled, does it have to undergo a significant change, or what is the process to untable it?
A motion that lies on the table may be removed from the table at any time by motion and majority vote. If it is not removed from the table by the end, according to your rules, not Robert's, but according to your rules, if it's not removed from the table by the end of this session or by the end of this fiscal year, then it would die.
But it can come back and
It can come back at any time. You do not have to be on the prevailing side. Anyone can make the motion, and a majority vote can remove it from the table. No other motion on the subject can be made while it is on the table.
And when it comes back, it can be in its exact form that it is now. It doesn't have to be altered or changed.
Or it can be removed from the table for amendment and then
Okay.
voted on too.
All right,
Yes.
thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Oh, no, we can't. Yeah. That was
No further debate.
No further debate. All right. If it's loaded, if you're in favor of tabling Resolution 22620, signify by pressing your yes button. Opposed, your no. Once it comes up on your screen. So again, if you're in favor of tabling it, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
9 yes, 14 no.
The motion fails. Back to the resolution 22620. Any further questions or comments? My screen's not showing. Commissioner Mary Smith.
So again, I just want to reiterate that this is just a list of considerations for the state to look at. I do know that it's difficult sometimes to get changes like this made, but historically within the resolution, there has been twice that changes have been made to the original public chapter. I think one of the sticking points was been the 2017 non-contiguous. When that was added into it, it almost, I want to thank Christy for giving us some historical context, but that actually almost created conflict between the county and municipalities. So I do think that there are elements of this resolution that the state should consider as part of this bill if it does come up. So I'm still in support of the resolution, and I do think that the cooperation between our municipalities has been great, but I don't think that's the case across the state. And I do know that other counties have presented similar resolutions. And so I just think that we do want to ask the state to look at this from a statewide perspective. And I'm hopeful that maybe Williamson County can be the example for the rest of the state if we can continue to have these conversations and we can continue to address the issues here within our own county.
Commissioner Steve Smith.
Call the question.
Got a proper motion to call the question. Do I hear a second? We'll do a voice vote first. If it sounds close, then we'll do a roll call. If you're in favor of calling the question, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The question's been called. If you're in favor of Resolution 22620, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
16 yes, 7 no.
Resolution passes. Been asked by several to do a recess. If there's no objection, we'll take a 15-minute recess and reconvene at 9 p.m.
I'm not that sympathetic.
If everyone can start making their way back to their seats, fellow commissioners will reconvene. Which
Bang, bang, bang.
we'll reconvene this February 9th commissioner meeting.
Do we have to?
Our first resolution.
Before we went to recess, there was another resolution that we had opted to move up to the front. That one being Resolution 22619, resolution creating a Williamson County Fire Rescue Task Force to study current and future fire protection needs in Williamson County. Proper motion made by Drew Torres, seconded by Pete Stresser. Budget Committee was 5-4-0 against to defer. Law Enforcement was 4-4-0 against to defer. Explanation, please, Commissioner Petty.
The University of Tennessee is going to be doing a study on our fire situation. It's going to be about a 6-month study. And so at the meeting the other night, we decided to defer my resolution and let them do their work. They recently did one for Knoxville, and it's very detailed. It's very well done, and it's not going to cost us anything to have that done. And once that's finished, then we can talk again about having our task force to kind of tailor everything to our county and put things together. But so I support that 100%. But before we go any further, I want to recognize a person here tonight. About a month and a half ago, a young lady by the name of Victoria Gildenberg emailed me, and she said, well, I want to learn more about, how decisions are made, politics and running government, et cetera, et cetera. I'm very interested. So I had a chance to meet with her and her mom, and we had a very nice conversation. And I said, well, we're going to be talking about doing this, changing from volunteer to paid firefighters at some point. It's probably going to, I think it's very highly likely it's going to happen. I don't see any reason that it won't. So could you do a report? When she said, I like to do research, well, I said, would you like to do a report? Well, she did. I have it right here. It's 9 pages long. And she goes into population growth and annexation trends, volunteer fire department in Tennessee, case studies. Let's see what else. I'm just a full transition process. Budgetary implications and funding strategies, that's important, right? Pros and cons of transition to a paid fire force, phase versus full implementation, and conclusions. It's extremely well done, and anybody that's looked at it says, boy, this is really professional kind of quality work. So I would like Victoria to stand, if she would. And she goes to Ravenwood High School, and she is you hear a lot about the next generation and whatnot, and how well we're doing. And this is an example of one of the students in our county. It shows great competence, great maturity. She carries herself very well. And this is a real positive for everything within our county in this school district. So anyway, I don't know if I need to make a motion. I make a motion that we defer this resolution until the September meeting.
I'll second.
Who was that from? Okay. And your counterpart, Megan Guffey, seconds it. So we've got a motion to defer from the resolution's author, Commissioner Petty, seconded by Commissioner Guffey. Again, both committees also voted unanimously to defer. Any questions or comments on the motion to defer? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor of deferring Resolution 22619, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
23 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Smith?
was that a deferral to a specific time?
Thank you, Commissioner Steve Smith. Did you? Oh, he said September. Oh,
Okay,
I was like you, I didn't hear it.
thank you.
Okay, and it's loaded, and it is loaded as September on the screen too.
Okay.
Yeah, but thank you for that. Okay, on to the agenda. Resolution 226-2, resolution of the Williamson County Board of County Commissioners for approval of an intent to fund of up to $15 million with a first draw of $12 million for the sports field's LED lighting upgrade. Proper motion made by Commissioner Megan Guffey, seconded by Commissioner Steve Smith. The school board was 10-4-0 against, education was 2-4-3 against, budget committee was 0-4-5 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
Yes, these are lighting upgrades for the athletic fields at the county high schools. I'd asked a question to Mr. Golden, y'all may have heard, about whether or not these were capital and the expected lifespan on those. In full disclosure, budget voted unanimously against this. Concerns about budget and the guidelines that we will be proposing this year make it look like a very tight year. That is certainly not to say that this is not a worthwhile and needed endeavor. And the question a little bit was on timing. So I think the questions of how long TVA lasts, the anticipated savings with not having to replace the old halogen bulbs, probably need to enter into it a little more than we got to get into at budget. So that's my explanation.
Any questions or comments? Commissioner Tunnicliffe.
Yeah, if Superintendent Golden, can you address the TVA discount and time frame for us, please?
Thank you, Commissioner. Based on our conversations with TVA, we estimate that we have the opportunity for a rebate of somewhere in the range of $1 million, maybe up to $1.1 million. They have not given us a deadline, not given us an end date. Our experience with those is they might stay open for a few months until they hit maybe perhaps their next budget year. I've seen that happen, but it's speculation at this point. We just don't know a termination date.
But $1 million,
Yes, sir.
roughly. Thank you.
Commissioner Sturgeon.
Thank you. I had a question about the money too. And I think it was Budget Committee. It sounded like you were gonna save maybe $200,000 a year by installing these lights. And they only have a lifetime of 10 or 15 years. So they don't pay for themselves.
The capital expense in replacing the existing metal halides with the LED is much more substantial than the cost of replacing the panels when that will wear out maybe in the 12 to 15 year range. In addition to saving a little bit of electricity, given the number of hours that they're used, and the change across the country in switching those bulbs that they were struggling to get some manufactured parts. When you combine all those, we put it on our 5-year capital plan, recognizing that over time we're going to need to upgrade. Some of these lights are many decades old. So there's going to come a time where we're going to absolutely need to, where they're just flat not working. We anticipate that on the operational side of the budget, we'll be able to save about $250,000 a year operationally in getting the trucks onto the fields and replacing those bulbs as they burn out singly. That won't happen with LED bulbs.
But they don't pay for themselves.
Long term, we're going to have them from a pay for themselves standpoint. When you talk about return on investment in those short windows of that first batch, we have evaluated that, and the return on investment won't be 15 years. It's a longer term plan than that.
Yeah, at least, right? Because you won't be replacing them the second time for about 15 years.
Yeah, and you won't actually be replacing the entire system
Right.
when you replace them.
You're just replacing the bulb the second time.
Yes, ma'am.
Gotcha.
Commissioner Torres.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's probably a question for Phoebe, but Phoebe, can you remind me, I think I know the answer to this, but we can't use funds from our impact fees for stuff like this?
That is correct. That's for education impact fees for growth only.
Got it. Thank you.
Commissioner Williams.
Superintendent Golden, how many fields?
41. That's football, baseball, softball, tennis, soccer.
Yeah. Then the resolution, it talks about this would happen over a 3-year period and doing all 41. Is there an appetite at the school board to potentially phase that out over a longer period of time to reduce the overall number each year that you're asking for?
Of course, the vote was for this. We recognize that you all are the funding body. If you all decide to do a partial funding, we'll set some priorities. We actually have done that with other projects from time to time, and I know that you all know that some of our larger projects have gone over the course of multiple years, our theaters, that kind of thing. So my ask is for all, but I recognize that if we got some partial funding, the savings from TVA would of course be proportionately less, but anything to get us on the road would be appreciated.
I think I'd almost prefer like we replace it on an as needed basis. So as they, as the current lights expire, then replace them with the newer ones opposed to just all at once.
Well, it's hard to know where the as needed is because right now, some of the manufacturers of some of those replacement parts have stopped producing. So we wait, we scan the internet trying to find the replacement parts. So it's hard for me to say, okay, we've got an absolute need now. It's hard to know when that's going to happen. we made the determination based on our 5-year capital plan that the need and appropriate time was to get started this year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Petty.
What controls how we spend that money? We got $100 million in the bank right now that we can't spend on anything but new construction. What is that coming down from the state? Is that coming from the county? How does that get changed?
Phoebe, I can speak to that. You can step up, and I'm speaking a little bit for the county just because of my knowledge, having lived this. That is in reference to the impact fee, which is based on growth, and part of the structure of that is that the revenues are to be used on growth-related items.
Yeah.
So often the question is asked at y'all's level. Okay, what are you asking for from a capital perspective? Is there any growth tied into that? Can we fund it out of that fund? And that's, as I understand it, Phoebe, that was the answer you were giving.
But is that coming from the state or is that coming from us?
I think maybe you ought to answer that one. I know it's not or maybe I probably shouldn't be the one calling on people. But.
The private act authorizing the educational impact fee requires that the money be spent on growth-related
I understand
construction. That was a private act passed by the state, adopted by this county commission. So it would be fair to say both the state and the county require that.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to get clarity on that. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I see none.
Thank you.
If you're ready to vote on Resolution 226-2, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
5 yes, 18 no.
Resolution fails. Resolution 226-3, resolution of the Williamson County Board of County Commissioners, approval of an intent to fund of up to $6 million with a first draw of $4 million for the renovation of Grassland Middle School. Proper motion made by Commissioner Drew Torres, seconded by Commissioner Mary Smith. School Board was 10-4, 0 against. Education Committee was 4-4, 1 against. Budget Committee was 4-4, 1 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
Yes, these are funds to continue some previously approved funding out at Grassland Middle School. As Superintendent Golden mentioned, it is a 40-year-old structure, and we're about $1 million already in, so this would allow finishing out that project.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none? Oh, Commissioner Sturgeon?
I had asked Jason, can you tell us exactly what these improvements are that Grassland's going through? And you might want to stick around for the next school too.
I'll rattle off a list that really kind of is the broad strokes. Renovate the administrative entrance to provide an improved security structure. You all who have visited those buildings know that those buildings built in the 80s did not have the double entrances and structure that you just open up into the hallway. That's number one. Rescreen the gym floor, replace the floor in the base floor throughout the building, including the VCT in the hallways and the classrooms. Door and hardware replacement for those 40-plus-year-old doors. Adding card access to those doors for security purposes. Ceiling tile replacement, restroom plumbing fixture replacement throughout the restrooms. Internal signage replacement and casework and painting.
Okay, and how old is this school exactly?
Opened in 1986.
So I'm guessing it's one of the oldest schools in the county.
It's not the oldest, it's on the older half.
Yeah.
Fairview Elementary is actually the oldest if you want to go list to list. But
Oh, just
yes,
my
Commissioner, you were correct. It is among the oldest.
Well, I would just like to make the comment that we can't continue to neglect our older schools.
Yes, thank you.
We're obligated to keep them, especially when it comes to security, up to snuff. So I'm going to vote obviously yes on this one.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
21 yes, 1 no, 1 abstain.
Resolution passes. Resolution 2264, resolution of the Williamson County Board of County Commissioners for approval of the intent to fund of up to $3,600,000 with a first draw of $1,800,000 for the renovation of Hillsborough K through 8. Proper motion made by Commissioner Drew Torres and seconded by Commissioner Guy Carden. The school board was 10-4-0 against, Education Committee 3-4-1 against, Budget Committee 4-4-1 against, and I'm sorry, on the Education Committee there was 1 abstention. So 3-4-1 against with 1 abstention on the Education Committee. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
Yeah, same story here. Previously approved funds for Hillsborough K through 8. We're about $3 million into the project. This is approving another 1.8 to finish out those improvements.
Commissioner Hayes.
You share with us the same thing you did for Grassland, because I think this is a 45-year-old school that serves District 9 and 1.
I'm going to add one item to the Hillsborough School from renovation. That includes asbestos remediation.
Oh, Lord.
It was under construction in the 70s, and it's 45 years old now. So that would include the administrative entrance as well. If you've been in the Hillsborough School, you know there's a glassed-in entrance, but it doesn't go all the way up to the ceiling. We put something in to do some temporary work. That will include a temporary entrance relocation and office relocation during construction. Again, remediate the asbestos, which is in the floor tiles and the mastic, the glue in the flooring there. Replace the floor and the floor base with VCT tile, door and hardware replacement, ceiling tile replacement, plumbing fixtures, internal signage replacement, casework, and of course painting.
Thank you.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I do think this is an important project as well.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
21 yes, 1 no, 1 abstention.
Resolution passes. Resolution 2265, resolution accepting donations on behalf of the Williamson County General Sessions DUI Recovery Court and appropriating and amending the 25-26 Williamson County General Sessions Court budget by $26,000 revenues to come from donations. Proper motion made by Commissioner Tom Tunnicliff, seconded by Commissioner Steve Smith. The Law Enforcement Public Safety Committee was 4-4-0 against. Budget Committee was 5-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Tunnicliff.
We are just going to move some money from donations to expenditures.
Any questions or comments? My screen just went dead. Seeing none, if you're ready to vote and your screen is up, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. This cord doesn't work in this one.
That's what I was afraid of. We need a departure.
And in the meantime, I'll voice vote yes.
Thank you.
Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
23 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 2266, resolution appropriating and amending the 25-26 county clerk's budget by $100,000 for additional postage, revenues to come from unappropriated county general funds. Proper motion made, is this screen right? By Commissioner Steve Smith, seconded by Commissioner Betsy Hester. The Budget Committee was 5-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
Yes. If you go online and renew your tags, they will mail those to you. They charge you a $3 fee that's collected by the clerk's office. They then pay that postage out. This is just moving those $3 back into his budget to cover postage.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. I'll voice vote yes. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
23 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 2269, resolution authorizing the issuance, sale, and payment of county district school refunding bonds of Williamson County, Tennessee, and providing for the levy of taxes for the payment of debt services on those bonds. Proper motion made by Commissioner Steve Smith, seconded by Commissioner Megan Guffey. Budget Committee was 5-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
Yes,
No, you're not.
There you
Yes,
go.
you are.
now I am. These are the refunding bonds people told us about earlier, combined with the next refunding bond, saves us about $100,000 a year. So great thing for us.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. I vote yes. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whidbey.
23 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 2-2610, resolution authorizing the issuance, sale, and payment of general obligation refunding bonds of Williamson County, Tennessee, and providing for the levy of taxes for the payment of debt services on those bonds. Proper motion made by Commissioner Megan Guffey and seconded by Commissioner Tom Tunnicliffe. The Budget Committee was 4-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
Yes, this is the second part. This is just on our general obligation bonds.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Any opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whidbey.
23 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 2-2611, resolution accepting a donation from Friends of Williamson County Animal Center and appropriating and amending the 25-26 Animal Center budget by $17,000, revenues to come from donations. Proper motion made by Commissioner Drew Torres and seconded by Commissioner Megan Guffey. Public Health Committee was 4-4-0 against. Budget Committee was 4-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
Yes, this is just accepting generous donation from Friends of Williamson County Animal Center to be used for veterinary services.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whidbey.
23 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Late filed Resolution 2-2624, resolution appropriating and amending the 25-26 library budget by $85,276.16. Revenues to come from donations and contributions. Proper motion made by Commissioner Paul Webb, seconded by Commissioner Megan Guffey. Library Board was 8-4-0 against. Budget Committee was 5-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Webb.
Mr. Chair, I think this is self-explanatory, but Amanda from the library is here if anyone has any questions.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whidbey.
23 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Late filed Resolution 2-2625, resolution authorizing the county mayor to enter into a 25-27 contractual agreement with the state of Tennessee for educational policy and increasing the 25-26 health department budget by $25,000. Proper motion made by Commissioner Barb Sturgeon, seconded by Commissioner Paul Webb. The Public Health Committee was 4-4-0 against. Budget Committee 5-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Webb.
Mr. Chair, this is a scholarship that includes courses lead to a degree certificate up to $25,000 a year. Ms. Montgomery is here if anyone has any specific questions.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whidbey.
23 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 2-2612, resolution declaring certain Williamson County-owned property and equipment surplus property and authorizing the sale of the property and equipment at auction. Proper motion made by Commissioner Barb Sturgeon, seconded by Commissioner Mary Smith. Property Committee was 4-4-0 against. Budget Committee 5-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
Just authorize the sale of surplus property. As commissioners, you may not bid.
Yeah. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whidbey.
23 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 22613, resolution to surplus and approve the conveyance of various law enforcement-related equipment to Hickman County, Tennessee, and authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to execute all documentation needed to complete the conveyance. Proper motion made by Commissioner Greg Lawrence, seconded by Commissioner Drew Torres. Law enforcement was 4-4-0 against, Property Committee 4-4-0 against, Budget Committee 5-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
Well, in this case, you could bid on it even if you weren't a commissioner. It has no civilian purpose. So similar to some of the past items we've given to Hickman County, we're giving this to Hickman County as is, so we don't carry any liability.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
23 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 22614, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into a lease agreement with Boop Vets on behalf of the Williamson County Animal Center. Proper motion made by Commissioner Lisa Hayes, seconded by Commissioner Barb Sturgeon. Public Health was 4-4-0 against, Property Committee 4-4-0 against, Budget Committee 5-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
This is a program that allows veterinarians to come into our animal center to perform procedures on animals that otherwise, without those procedures, would be surrendered to us. So it ends up being a great thing for us and also for the animals.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
23 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 22615, a resolution establishing compensation for a part-time juvenile court magistrate position. Proper motion made by Commissioner Lisa Hayes and seconded by Commissioner Guy Carden. The Human Resources Committee was 4-4-0 against. Law Enforcement was 4-4-0 against. Budget Committee was 5-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Herbert.
This is for part-time magistrate, and it's setting the rate at $69.71 per hour. There's already money in the budget for this year to cover it, so it won't be any extra money requested.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
23 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 22616, a resolution authorizing Williamson County to change investment companies for the Williamson County's Length of Service Awards program that is administered by the Volunteer Firemen's Insurance Service. Proper motion made by Commissioner Tom Tunnicliffe and seconded by Commissioner Guy Carden. Purchasing and insurance was 3-4-0 against. Budget Committee 5-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
Yes, they went out and found a better rate of return. So this helps our volunteer firemen and emergency rescue people get a better return on their retirement.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
23 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 22617, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to execute a license agreement with Beaman Toyota to grant naming rights concerning the county's Nevco LED Aquatic Video Timing Board. Proper motion made by Commissioner Tom Tunnicliffe, seconded by Commissioner Megan Guffey. Property Committee was 4-4-0 against. Parks and Rec was 5-4-0 against. Budget Committee was 5-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
It's just authorizing Beaman Toyota to have their name on the timing board at the indoor sports complex.
Any, Commissioner Richards?
Yeah, during committee, I think I noticed that we don't have the rate that they're going to be paying us on, I guess, a monthly or an annual basis. Do we know what that rate is?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We went back and took a look at what fair market value would be like this for an advertisement like this. What we have found is between $2,500 and $5,000 a year is what we determined. The value of the board itself that was donated, the value of that was $133,000 and change. So what we did was the life of these boards is between 8 and 10 years. So what we did, we took that number, divided it between 8 and 10 years. We did a range of them, and basically came up to with about $1,100 to $1,400 a year is what it would be. Because of that, we have decided on a nominal one of $100 since they've already paid the $133,000 for the board. So the rate will be $100 a month.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
23 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 22621, resolution authorizing Williamson County to acquire a rescue tactical armored vehicle conditioned on using the equipment for a public purpose and in accordance with applicable law. Proper motion made by Commissioner Tom Tunnicliffe, seconded by Commissioner Megan Guffey. Law enforcement was 4-4-0 against. Budget committee was 5-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Tunnicliffe.
Yes, we looked at a different piece of equipment last year, and I think looking to see where he is. Rodney, we were late on getting that or didn't get that, and this is a new one we have found in its place. Is that correct?
Thank you, Commissioners. Last year was passed for a Lincoln Bearcat. It's just a language change. It's a different piece of equipment because we didn't meet the time frame of the production of this before the grant runs out.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
23 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 22622. A resolution authorizing the Williamson County Board of Commissioners to initiate a request for proposals, RFP, and retaining an independent consulting firm to advise the county commission regarding potential transactions involving Williamson Health. Before I take motions or seconds on this one, I need to ask legal counsel if we can hear this or vote on this resolution tonight.
Pursuant to Robert's rules, you cannot hear a resolution on the same subject that presents substantially the same question as a resolution that has been laid on the table. So in order to consider this resolution, there would have to be a motion to remove 126-2 from the table, and then it could be amended with this resolution. But you would need a motion to remove it from the table and a majority vote to remove it from the table before you could hear this resolution.
I'd like the motion to have it removed and untabled.
And that's the
appropriate motion and second.
That's the first resolution? That's the one we...
That's to untable 126-2.
Okay. I have...
No, 1 was the legal fees, 2 was the one that was tabled.
And that was tabled when? Last month?
January.
Okay. So in January, we tabled a resolution that was very similar to this one. As council has pointed out, once you table a resolution, a new resolution can't supersede that. So to hear this, in effect, we need to untable the resolution that we tabled last month. I have a proper motion made by Commissioner Lisa Hayes, seconded by Commissioner Richards, to untable that previous resolution, which was 126-2. Any questions or comments on the motion to untable?
Not debatable.
It's not debatable, okay. All right, so if you're in favor of untabling Resolution 126-2, you'll signify by pressing your yes button. If you prefer to keep it tabled, signify by pressing your no button. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Commissioner Herbert?
Repeat that again.
If you wish to untable, then you'll hit yes. So that we'll read the resolution and discuss it. If you wish to keep it tabled, then vote no. And then at this point, I'll ask again, if anybody wishes to change their vote, they can do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
11 yes,
Untable
12
fails.
no.
All right, the motion to untable fails. Next resolution is 22623, resolution authorizing the county mayor to execute a contract between the State of Tennessee Department of Transportation and Williamson County for a trash collecting grant for fiscal year 25-26. Proper motion made by Commissioner Tom Tunnicliff, seconded by Commissioner Drew Torres. Proper motion and seconded, and law enforcement was 4-0 against. Budget committee was 5-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Morton.
Yes, this is just application for grant funds.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
23 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Last resolution for the evening, 22626, late filed resolution. Resolution requesting the General Assembly to pursue any and all options available to ensure that Nashville Electric Service, NES, customers residing in Williamson County are provided with appropriate representation in the governance of NES. Proper motion made by Commissioner Paul Webb, seconded by Commissioner David O'Neill. And this one is signed by several commissioners, requested by several commissioners. It was late filed, so we didn't have time to get their signatures, but it was requested by Commissioner O'Neill, Richards, Smith? Mary Smith. Commissioner Mary Smith, Commissioner Sturgeon, and Commissioner Paul Webb. No committees have met on this resolution. Question or comment from Commissioner Greg Lawrence? Oh, I'm sorry, and while you're getting ready there, Commissioner Lawrence, explanation, please, Commissioner Paul Webb.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you know, we've had a severe storm Fern come through, and in our district, especially northern Brentwood, is serviced by NES, and we've had significant power outages and disruptions, as well as other parts of the county. And because of this, we found out that we, the members of the Williamson County population, do not have a voice on the NES board. And so we would like to ask the legislature to include it so that those living outside Davidson County have a voice on the NES board.
Now, Commissioner Lawrence.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I can certainly understand those of you commissioners in the northern part of the county with the frustration. The difference between Middle Tennessee Electric and NES was night and day in this recent storm. And I think it shows a real question about competence of the leadership at NES. And so I asked Bobby and Sarah, actually did a little research on this, what we could do to possibly get out of NES service area as a county, and basically put the whole county under Middle Tennessee Electric. So basically, apparently how this works is the utility providers all purchase a service area from TVA. And this was done years ago. And so for whatever reason, NES was allowed to purchase the service area outside of Nashville. That doesn't make sense to me how NES, which has Nashville in the name and is operated by the Metro Council Board, overseen by them, how they could have authority over anything outside of their county, but they do. So I don't think we can do anything right now about this unless the state allows us to do it. So I would like to propose an amendment to add wording to this resolution to say, on the last whereas, to explore all options to ensure that NES customers and other areas outside are provided with adequate representation in the governance of their utility provided, or allow Williamson County to be removed from NES service area. At the end of that last whereas.
Does that require another resolution, or can this one be amended to do something that holistic?
If it takes the entirety of it away, it would require a new resolution. If it's just amending the one clause, it can be made. so I'm not sure I understand exactly what the amendment is.
Well, we would be removing Williamson County from the NES service area and allowing Middle Tennessee Electric to purchase that.
This resolution is to place members of Williamson County on the board. I'm thinking a separate resolution would
Okay.
need to be made to
Okay.
accomplish the goal you're hoping to do with that amendment.
I think that's right.
It says that, okay, all right, we can do that.
So perhaps
Next
a
month.
separate resolution coming in the future. Commissioner
Stay tuned.
Jennifer Mason.
Thank you. I'm all in support of this. I was just a little curious about how the intent of the resolution, how would the General Assembly do that? Or are we really just asking them to explore options, or do we have a pathway in mind?
Commissioner Webb, if you wish.
David will answer that.
Okay. Commissioner O'Neill.
So there's going to be a lot of heavy lifting that has to be done for this to happen. According to legal research, the Metro Charter trumps any kind of general state law, but the state legislature is already in the process of looking at this, and they're not any happier than anybody else is about what happened. And so this is really to encourage them to continue on with what they're doing. They may do a lot more. I think I've heard that they may try to take it completely over from Nashville. So that's a lot more than what we already have. But when I started to look at this resolution, I realized that we didn't have any representation for the customers that are in Williamson County, because it's solely appointed by the mayor of Nashville, the board, the NES board, or the Public Utility Board, or whatever they call it. But and not just us, but several other counties. So there's a lot of people that have power. They can't have a say over what their rates are or anything else. So this ice storm brought a lot of things to light.
The only other comment I would make, because I haven't done this in a long time, in the first whereas in the first line, Davidson County is misspelled. I feel like I haven't corrected a spelling error in a really long
It's
time.
been a little while.
Welcome back.
We'd be there.
The typo we can fix.
So we recognize that typo, and that's one that I'm told by council we can fix.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lisa Hayes.
If they don't want to let us have a seat on the board, we could say, just let us out. Trade off. Easy peasy. Well, you'd think it'd be easy, but it's probably not.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, signify by pressing your yes button. Opposed, your no. We'd already done the motion a second, didn't we?
Just-
She had loaded the motion.
1 second, and when she was loading the amendment, that got taken away.
Oh.
It messed the system up for just
Oh,
a second.
okay.
She's correcting it. She looks like she's got it.
So here we are. If you're in favor of the main resolution, 22626, signify by pressing your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Record the vote, please, Mr. Whitby.
23 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. As always, we want to thank our sheriff's deputies for being here. Thank you, gentlemen. All the department heads for staying late. Is there any other business to come before this board? We do have someone, Commissioner Mason. You have her on the mic.
Well, I had brought this up to the chair during the break. I know our next meeting
yes.
is over spring break. And we have discussed, we want to make sure we have a quorum, and so if there's anybody we had or I'll let you take it.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that. So to make sure we have a quorum for next month, if you know in advance now that you will not be able to be here for our March meeting, please email Diane and let her know. That'll give us some idea. All right, Diane's saying if you know right now, go ahead and raise your hand. 1, 2. What about you, Ricky Jones? You'll be here? Okay.
Just two.
Just 2. So we should be good for a quorum. Commissioner Jones.
I just wanted to extend sympathy to Joy Kimball. He lost his dad, so thanks, Joy, for being here. Yep.
Absolutely.
So extend, I think visitation's tomorrow, correct, Joy? Yes. Thank you, Joy.
Thank you for that. Any other questions or comments before we adjourn? We are adjourned.